So you might have to help me just a little bit here. I'm going to share my screen, right? And I'm going to pop open my Start with Why.
And
Right.
I will monitor the chat for you, so you don't have to necessarily worry about that. So you can focus on talking to everyone and following your slides.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Not yet.
Oh, snap. Okay. Shoot. Okay, hold on. How about now? No. It says 1 and 2, so I'm sorry. Look at me starting out not in the good light.
That happens when you have multiple monitors. Are you using multiple monitors?
I am, yep.
That
So what
happens a lot. If you can abandon one, that's usually the best course of action, at least for me anyway. I had to abandon.
Oh my gosh, can everyone see my face? They're going, holy cow, I don't know if I can abandon anything. It's actually, I'm at home because I got stuck with a client on the phone, and otherwise I'd have assistance. I don't know, I'm clicking on it, Wendy.
That's all right, Brenda. If you prefer, I can go ahead and pull it up.
I think that might be the better course of action, so I don't make everybody watch me panic.
No panicky. They're very forgiving.
Okay, good.
Was anyone on the Wednesday webinar yesterday? You were all very forgiving if you were on it.
Oh, thank goodness. All right. All right, so I stopped sharing my screen, right? So anyhow, and it's being recorded. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna like in legacy live like the one that can't share screen. Okay, so
1 second, and I'm gonna pull it up.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
There
now,
we
go. Now I'm going, why am I doing this? No, okay. I'm going to start with why already. Yeah, here we go. So this is actually a real passion of mine, is talking about your why. You know, our objective here today is going to be exploring, and I'm used to standing up, so I'm like one of those people that runs their hands around. So if you see me all fidgety, I like got to get my energy going here, which is what we all should strive to do when we're talking to our prospective clients and buyers, et cetera. But today we're going to be talking about why consumers see real estate as all the same, and introduce this concept of a green penguin, which I know has everyone's curiosity piqued. And then to discuss how to determine and articulate why you have entered into real estate and the benefits that it brings for being involved in real estate. So actually, let's start with those green penguins. You know, in real estate, and you're talking with your friends and neighbors about real estate and how you buy and sell houses, they see everybody basically doing things the same. And your goal should be to stand out of that sea of sameness and go into the land where you say you're different and you actually deliver on that promise of being different than everybody else in the sea of sameness of real estate. And often people say that, but they rarely are able to deliver what they promise, which is that they're going to do something different than the average real estate agent out there in the marketplace. So you have to strive to be, you know, think about this. So when people are out there, all they see really are signs. Everybody puts a sign. Everybody does a lot of the same things, because that is true. So they're not completely wrong, these consumers, when they say that everybody does the same thing. Everybody pops it into the MLS. Everybody puts a sign out front of the property, and they think that that's all that anybody does to sell a house. It's so not true. And they think that everybody is, like I said, on the sea of sameness. But next slide, we are different. We all do say, look, I say I'm different, but here we're all saying the same thing, that we're saying we have tools, and I can't stand that word tools. So I want you all to, I'm going to challenge you all to come up with a different word than tools. Everyone says they have marketing tools. So that's why we've kind of adopted differentiators, or there's probably, you can go into your little thesaurus and find a whole lot of words for tools, but people claim that they have tools that can make them different. They claim that they can improve the experience of selling a house. They all claim that they're going to give great service, but they don't necessarily talk about the specifics of how that looks and what it is. And they all say that they're going to be successful in this effort, but they don't give real meaning to the consumer. I think I got a little backlog here. But anyhow, they, you know, I actually pulled this quote. It's kind of funny because this slide came from our region, and I'm really passionate about knowing your why in everything that you do. You know, in every aspect of your life, you have to know, you have to define your why. But people, this Kurt Cobain always spoke to me. I guess my grunge rock years, but he said they laugh at me because I'm different, and I laugh at them because they're the same. So, you know, it's kind of interesting that there is a lot of companies that just do things the same old way and do it the same old way every single year. I'm thrilled to be part of our company because we are constantly seeking a better way to do something and not afraid to you know, forge forward and pioneer in some regards on and doing things differently. So you're lucky in this regard. So we shatter that. And we want to strive to become green penguins, because you saw that picture a few slides ago that had a photo of penguins. They're all black and white. Indeed, in our Howard Hanna culture, we are green penguins, and we try to separate ourselves from a really cluttered environment of many real estate companies that we're competing against. So how do we stand out into the crowd and that crowd of sameness? How do we maximize our market differentiators? How do we demonstrate who we are and how we can help buyers like nobody else can? This is what being a green penguin is always striving to be different in that sea of sameness. So you've got to be the bird. You've got to be that person that's green and gold and always wearing your, you know, lapel pin. I hope you have one. I always laugh. I must make a lot of money for marketing because I probably have 100 of these of these pins. Every time I just pull one of my jackets out, it's on there. So I don't even have to think about it. And I promise you, when you wear your label or your name tag, people will ask you about it. So that's something that can differentiate you from others. A lot of people go around believing that people just know who they are. Well, they don't. So you've got to be that person willing to be green and to talk and tell people about our green and gold brand and why it's different. So Simon Sinek, years ago now, did this TED Talk called Start With Why. There's a book. I have like books. He's got several books now. Together We're Better, a whole lot of books. But the premise of the book is, for him, was that he was doing a job that he originally loved. He went into his business and he loved it. And he's like, you know, he was always told by his parents to get into a job that you love. And he found that he didn't love it so much anymore. So he was like, why don't I? What's happened? You know, he then decided he needed to figure out, you know, why he wanted to go backwards and figure out why he got involved in his industry to begin with. And he realized that meant he had to write it down. I think the next slide, I haven't memorized this slide deck, but yeah, the next slide talks about how you go about defining this why. Most companies get it backwards. You know, they start about, you know, remember we just talked about what everybody does that you're competing with. What they do is sell real estate. You know, we all do that. How we do it, there are many similar functions of how we do it. There's many things that are different with our company that separate us from that. But then most people don't really start with the why. I promise you, on your first listing presentation, or even when you're telling people, announcing people that you've started on this journey to become a real estate professional that's going to help change people's lives for the better, they're going to ask you why you did that. You know, why did you decide to go into real estate? Do you have an answer? You know, do you know why you're doing what you're doing? Most people don't talk about that. They may say what they're going to be doing. I'm going to be the #1 agent at Howard Hanna. That's great, but that's not enough. So you've got to be willing to define your why, because the what is what the company does. The how is how you get there. The why is the core belief of what our business is and why it exists. The great news is that our company, we've already defined that. I was really proud and honored to be part of our vision statement a couple of years ago. I guess it's a couple of years ago now. It's all kind of running together, but you know, we all had people from all facets of our company and all regions of our company get together in a room, you know, including staff members and you know, presidents of companies and people like me, managers, and we talked about why we're doing what we're doing and wrote it down. So you've got to always remain focused on why you're in business, in real estate. And once you stay focused on that, you'll have more success. You know why you'll be more successful? Because knowing why you're doing something makes you more confident. You know, you're more confident when you know why you're doing something. If you have to do something difficult, for example, and you know why you have to do it, you can do it with confidence because you defined the purpose of it, right? So you've got to know the questions that every buyer and seller is going to ask out loud when you talk to them. So now you're going around telling people you're in real estate. You've got to define what you're saying to people about why you got involved. Now, when you're talking to potential buyers and sellers, every person is wondering your why, and they're asking themselves, what are they going to do? Because they know why they're doing what they're doing. They have an objective to meet for buying or selling your house. They know why they're doing what they're doing. So in the back of their mind, they're going, okay, what's this broker going to do for me? Number two is, what's this agent going to do for me? And then three, are you the right person to walk me through this life transition? Because it's a big deal helping to make people make huge decisions that are life changing. So you have to define how you make, you know, how you are different, how you, you know, how you bring different features to the table, different strengths to the table. And you have to define why you've decided to be that role for people in the real estate move they're making. So I think it's really, really critical that you write it down. This is actually a picture of a whiteboard that I used to keep. We made a recent move in an office and I got to get my whiteboard back. But literally for years, at the very, very top of that whiteboard, you can see these little words written across the top. That was my why. So it was basically on the wall directly across from my desk. So every day that I sat down, I needed to like make myself aware of what my why was. And I also made myself constantly reminded about what I consider the steps that people make to make buying and selling decisions, you know, like this awareness. You need to always make people aware of what you're doing. You have to get people into a consideration phase that they're going to want to know, like, and trust you and use you. You've got to get people at a decision point so that you can help them. And then you've got to bring a plus forward to help them see what's special about you. And then I always tried to define my priorities of what I was doing now specifically. And so to me, I'm a visual person. Not everybody is, but to me, you've got to write things down. So that's really critical to me, to write your why down and look at it every day. You know, as a company, we've done that with our vision, mission, and value statement. And I actually keep that on my desk so that I see it every day. Because why is your purpose? It's your cause, it's your belief, it's what inspires you to do what you're doing. So for me, this is my why. I want to create a positive, bustling, energy-filled real estate services region with actively engaged professionals that are working to help make people's lives better. And that's what, to me, if you come from that service heart of really wanting to help people be better in their lives, it may mean that you buy and sell a house with them this year. It may not be. It may mean that you give them a checklist of how to spring clean. It may mean that you refer them to our financial partner to look at a refinance. It may be that you let our insurance services help them get their premiums lower. You need to just be in a position where you want to help people's lives be better for all things real estate. You know, you may help them get a 203K loan to help do a rehab in their house. So you can go pop by and do a home inspection and keep up with them and let them know how you can help them. If you come from that place, the buying and selling of real estate will come to you more naturally. So you've got to articulate your why and then write it down. And I would challenge you to post it and look at it every day like I do, because it helps you stay focused. And so when you're defining your why, you know, ask yourself why you chose to become a realtor. Why did you choose this career path? Now, trust me, there's some days when I've been one for almost 30 years when I go, why did I choose to be a realtor, right? It's going to be days when you have to wonder, and then you got to focus on what you've written down. You go, that's why I'm doing this. Because I do want to be an energy-filled, bustling real estate region full of actively engaged professionals that are trying to make people's lives better. So see, I can say that to somebody when they ask me why I do what I do, because I do indeed want to make people's lives better. I want to make my agents' lives better in our region, in our company. I want to be here maybe helping open up a light bulb in your brain that says, you know what, I need to know that. I want to write this down. So a way to get to your why is to identify your leadership qualities. You know, you may be new in this industry and think, oh my gosh, I don't know how to write an offer. I don't know. Okay, those are all skill sets that you can teach, but there are innate qualities in you that nobody else has. You know, there's innate qualities in you. Maybe you were a nurse. You know, I recently, probably a couple of years ago, recruited a nurse into real estate. She was burned out from that job. It was high stress for her. And she said, I don't know, I guess real estate may be a path for me, but I don't have any of those, you know, I'm not that aggressive. You know, her version of what a real estate agent looked like in her head, she didn't meet in her mind. So I said, well, hold on a minute. You're a nurse. Nursing means that in her field, she had to guide people through a process, right? She guided them to taking blood pressure. You know, she did little checklists. She nurtured them through while they were getting prescriptions filled. So there's things that are like that, you know, everything's relative if you see it that way. So her skill set was to nurture, you know, she's become successful and she nurtures people in a database. She constantly touches them. She cares about them, you know, she cares about people. That comes through as a leadership quality, but she can articulate that now as it applies to real estate. So what are those strengths and benefits that only you bring to the table? You know, Dennis Sestra in our region always tells the story about a baker. He actually recruited a very successful agent in our Ocean Front office now that owned a bakery. And she, you know, she was known for these incredible cakes, you know, and she's like, well, how do I she had this great sphere of influence. And she's like, I don't understand how how does my skill set relate to real estate? Well, you know, she followed a recipe. she decorated it. She did, you know, really, it's kind of interesting. She did a whole social media platform to get people to buy her cakes. So she had all of these unique strengths and benefits that she could bring to the table. We just had to help her articulate it and speak that. And then, you know, we had to show her how to demonstrate those. So these are the answers that'll help define your why, and you can integrate this into your own personal mission statement, which I really implore you to consider writing down, because without a clear vision, you don't know where you're going. You know, would you just get into the car and start driving if you didn't have a destination? No, you don't. You've got to, you know, and yeah, we used to like hold a physical map in our hands, and now we hold a virtual map in our hands, or we hear our virtual map that's being laid out for us as we're going somewhere in the car, right? So you've got to constantly have tools and yeah, I use that word. You have to have something in place that you can see what your purpose is and how you're getting there. And part of that is what you're doing today. You know, this is a proven strategy and roadmap to get you on a successful path to buying and helping people in real estate. So you've got to now do your part, which is to find why you're here, why you're doing this, writing it down, and then it'll help you go, oh, this is me. So I'm Brenda Reed. I'm a regional manager. I want to have a really engaged group of real estate professionals working hard to help people's lives better. I know who I am and I know where I want to go. Hey, sometimes, we're really lucky right now in this marketplace that we are bustling and full of energy. But guess what? Markets go up and down and we're not always bustling and full of energy. But I have to remember that that's my goal. That's my push, is to kind of always create that, even when the general market doesn't help me, right? It's not always going to have all this perfect storm in place to have such a chaotic, bustling real estate market going on. And so to me, visualization is critical, and you've got to write it down and you've got to be able to see it. And all of these things we're doing together is going to get you there. So I would just say to you that you are now, I grew up with, my father was a builder and developer. So I really have been in real estate my whole life, I feel like. And on Monday morning, we lived in a little small house. You know, I went by my old house about a year ago and I walked in it. I'm like, oh my gosh, how did we all even fit in here? It's kind of funny. But it was a small little 3-bedroom, 1-bath house, brick ranch. And my dad actually built it. My grandfather built that neighborhood too. So we actually all, it's a small little house. But every Monday morning, he yelled in the house at 6:30 in the morning and would say, okay, it's Monday morning. We're all unemployed. Now, when you're 5 or 6 years old, you have no idea what that means, but he said it for the benefit of the household, that we're all self-employed, we're all unemployed. And in real estate, we're as good as our next sale. We're as good as our next listing. These are the things you have to kind of stay focused on. You are your own boss. You are your own leader. You've got to come up with things that work for you. So in the back of my mind, I'm unemployed every day. So I have to really push myself, to stay working and to stay engaged and to stay, I have this inner drive to push to do that. What is your inner drive? Only by knowing your why, you've got goals that you've defined therein of, maybe you're like me. I've got 2 kids in college. I'm a single mother. I push myself really hard to be successful in real estate because that's how I pay tuition. You may have goals that are in there, but, ultimately your why will, if you know your why and you're doing it and you're standing with it, your success will come because you're authentically doing what you need to do. But you're unemployed, you're self-leader, you own your own business here. So you've got to excel in self-leadership and you've got to take charge. Don't wait for other people to do things. You may have just joined with an office, and I know everyone's exceptionally good with your admin of getting all your things in order, but don't wait for somebody to do it. Somebody the other day said to me, well, I was waiting for so-and-so to call me. I'm like, well, did you call them back? Come on, be the push, be the drive. Don't wait for others to lead you, lead yourself. Identify how much energy you're going to invest to be a top producer. To me, I'm a big person about scheduling time. Every Saturday morning, for example, I listen to a industry-based webinar, and I've done that for years. My little kids, when I was raising them as a single mother, they knew that for that hour and 15 minutes not to bother me because I was doing something to motivate myself. It may be industry related, it might be motivationally led, it may be a whole lot of things, but I block time to do that. On any Monday morning, I'm doing a coaching session I block your time. Block your time. You've got to remember a couple things too. Your energy is best right now. Like right now, I'm probably going to have a lot more energy talking to you, a lot more focus than I am at 5 o'clock today, because there's a lot of things going on. So I would encourage you to, do a deep dive and schedule yourself from say 8:30 to 10 o'clock a.m. where you're doing your prospecting, where you're doing your contacting your sphere, where you're doing things that are going to lead business. Do it in the morning where you have the most energy. that's a proven, it's kind of you know that, and when you call somebody, when you're prospecting to touch base with your sphere, you're a lot more likely to get a happy person first thing in the morning than you are at 5 o'clock when they've had a terrible day at work or things of life have happened. So just remember, you're your own boss. You've got to be vigilant. You have to be a seeker. So when I was sitting there saying I constantly try to train myself with new information, I'm seeking, I'm a seeker, and I'm disciplined at constantly doing that. I pop on Fast Start, even I love that we've got all these people on here now. And it's such a unique opportunity that we offer that nobody else does, quite frankly. But I constantly pop on there myself to get versed back on contracts or to remind myself about unique prospecting opportunities. Constantly seek, and you can jump on anything we have in the company to help improve yourself so that you're going to not be that mediocre agent that's stuck going, why did I become a real estate agent again, right? But don't be that person, and don't wait for somebody else to do something for you. And when you consider, consistently generate daily motivation for yourself, when you consistently push yourself to go talk to everybody you know and talk to people you don't know. My son who was home from college, thank good Lord, he's gone back to his campus. And I discovered I love living alone. No, but anyway, he's back at school, but we went somewhere and I'm like, I will talk to anybody. I'm like, hey, how are you doing? Oh, you've got a Nationals. I love baseball. You've got a Washington Nationals hat. Oh my gosh, you saw Ryan Zimmerman just signed for $1 million for a year. Like, I'll talk to anybody about anything. Be that person, because ultimately people really want to talk, particularly after this COVID year. And yes, I had my mask on when I was talking to them. But be that person. Don't stay stuck. Be out, drive, be energetic. And when you do that and be your own boss, you really are going to change the world in a good way. So be service driven, have that servant's heart. So, you're going to get a handout on this. And this one handout here is something I talked to you about my scheduling. I'm a really big schedule person. I really, really want you to think about that for yourself. Yes, life comes in and knocks my schedule here and there, but I really try to be strong on holding my schedule. There's times where I'll shut my door because that's my time. There's a book I read, Deep Dive, where I just shut my door and I turn my phone upside down. I don't look at the little stuff coming in on the computer for my email, or I stay on task on what I'm trying to achieve. And in defining my time in the most productive way to work. So I use something called a day planner. It sounds like so silly, but I think that's the name of the actual of the book that I use. And I'm coming to you from home, but it's sitting on my desk at work. But in it, every year, in the front of it, it has your yearly goals, and then it drives it down to your quarterly goals, and then it drives down to your weekly goals, and then it drives down to your daily goals. And on the little sheet of the paper, it's got a nice little inspirational quote. It's got a place for you to write down your expenses, which for me, I'm in real estate. I try to, for my tax purposes, where my expenses has gone, it's got a little place for you to do that. It's got your hourly activities that you're doing, and it's all on this one little pretty binded book that I walk around with, and I've put a big Howard Hanna sticker on the front of it. But it's it's my life in there. It's got a little plastic thing in the back where I can put my receipts if I need to keep them for business related things. So in the front of this too is it's not, Nita Everton and I have kind of Hannatized this piece of paper, but it has those 3 circles: your top values, your top 5 passions, and your top 5 strengths. Anytime I recruited somebody, even while I was talking about them to even see if they were going to be a great fit for our culture and if they really should be in real estate, I asked them to fill that out before they came to talk to me. Because then I could see, one, if you can write these things out pretty quickly, and I say to take 10 minutes to do it, don't sleep on it overnight. And yet the day planner, I think it's called day planner, but I'll give it to Wendy and she can get that out. I'm sorry, I saw someone's chat. Right when I'm saying I don't get distracted, haha, I'm reading the comments down there in the chat. But you know, I'll give you the name of that and we'll get that out to you. In the front here, so if you take 10 minutes and if you can write down your top 10 values, you know, can you speak those really quickly? Don't spend a lot of time defining that for yourself. Write them down. What are your top five passions? Now, clearly, you can do for your whole life because that's what the day planner has the intent, like, you know, your whole being. I think it was designed by women to kind of make you a whole balanced person. But for real estate, I implore you to consider taking just 10 minutes and write those values and strengths and passions down. And then think about, as you're going through this fast start, you know, which differentiators best speak to your strengths? Which of because there's so much, you know, there's so much that you can use and not use. I mean, I always think of our company like a gym membership. You know, there's lots of weights, there's lots of equipment, there's stairmasters, treadmills, you know, there's a lot of things. And we have a lot of things because the way people do things are different. And your values and your passions and your strengths are different. So you've got to know what those are. So then you can jump on the differentiators that we offer that are going to best work for you. Now, there are some of those that we have that work for everybody, and that's by design too, because you've got to remember, it's not always all about us, it's about who we're serving. So, you know, a lot of the reason why we have different differentiators is because we know what people want. And you got to embrace that because it may not always be what you want, but it's what somebody else wants. But I will tell you that as you get talking to people and talking to them about real estate and the specialty that you bring, if you can quickly define your strengths, you know, to me, I think I'm an articulate communicator. I believe that I have confidence. I believe that I have the strength of experience. You know, I think I really value honesty and integrity. I'm really passionate about helping people and coming from a servant's heart and being authentic. You know, I can say that to somebody if they ask me who I am and what makes me different than John Doe that might want to help them in their real estate experience. So the whole goal here is for you to do a little soul searching and have that ability for yourself to know what it is. Because honestly, you need to be subtly speaking that, you know, like, so as you start talking with people and you're writing out your e-cards, they're going to be unique to you. You know, how do you articulate your uniqueness to others? You know, I used to have a tagline. When I was kind of more selling and listing, you know, mine were, I had like at the end of my email, I had like, you know, Brenda Reed, director of the New Homes Division, rapid proven results. You know, like, so which kind of made it sound to me like quickly I was going to do something. I was proven so that they could find a testimony about me, and I was result oriented. Now, you know, probably as we get into the 2021, that's not as effective as it was in 1999. But you know, I probably should challenge myself to come up with a new tagline. I would kind of like that. But you know, how do you subtly often speak your uniqueness, your strengths, your value? How do you speak that you're there to safely guide people through a really huge process? But when you do this and you soul search, you will have confidence. And let me tell you something, confidence is the game changer. You know, another thing that the book, The Day Planner, has in the very first page when you open it, it makes you define your word of the year. Okay, so your word of the year, you have to choose a word of the year. And I always try to find a really kind of unique, weird word. Nita, I can see you on my screen, so you know this about me, and she's probably going, oh my gosh, here she goes with her word again. But, you know, my word this year was Adolph. And I think it's like ADOLPH, and I don't have my book in front of me, but it meant assured confidence, moving forward with assured confidence. And that's like my thing this year. What happens to people that aren't successful in any venue is that they don't have the confidence in what they're doing. So all of these things, by following through and going through all the fast start, by following through and listening to your regional, your manager, whatever, all the resources you have, listening to the training in your region, listening to your regional managers, listening to our Howard Hanna family, which has an incredible wealth of knowledge. All of this that you can seek and take in is building your confidence. And that's the biggest game changer when you go out there to compete with somebody. I love going on listing presentations. That's like I love going on a listing presentation. I went with an agent in our downtown office, last week. And the sellers had already said that they were going to be using somebody else to list this piece of land. And I really have always specialized in land. And I said to that agent, listen, you take me on that. We're going to get that listing. I promise you that. Now, that sounded really bold, didn't it? But I had confidence because I believed it. Guess what happened? We got that listing. I told him, I said, of course, that's a great agent. And I have nothing but great things to say about them, but they don't know what I know. They don't have what we have. And I believe it. So all of these things that you're listening to as you move forward down this path of Fast Start, I want you to listen to it with renewed ears. These are confidence boosters for you. And when you know it, there's nobody that can come near doing what you do. And you can speak it easily, quickly. People, you're going to go back into your office and go, oh, scripts don't work. Listen, Nita, you know this about me too. You can throw any objection at me and I got 5 scripts in my head that are going to come out of my mouth. Now you can say, I don't like talking in scripts, but guess what? You got a script. It's just a bad one because you're just going to be fumbling through what your answer is. So all of these things you're learning now on this journey that you've embarked on are things to build you up with the confidence. And confidence is the game changer in every capacity. And the best way to get confidence is through constantly seeking and learning. So I applaud you all for being here. I want you to please define your why you're doing this, define your strengths, your values, your passions, particularly in this capacity, how it applies to real estate. And keep it near you. Have it so you can see it. So on those days where it's gonna, because once you start getting busy, you're gonna start juggling things. I know I start every day trying to get myself in the right mental attitude, because then no matter, and believe me, things get thrown at me in a big way. And if I stay focused on why I'm doing this, it makes it easier. And if I feel confident about my ability to tackle anything that's thrown my way, it's going to make it easier. So I want you to know that I'm here as a resource, and all of these fantastic trainers and education leaders that introduce themselves are here to lead you down what's sure to be a successful path if you do your part and commit, if you do your part and realize why you're doing this and how you're going to speak it, and that you're going to stay involved and constantly tune out the negative noise and stay on this GPS map that you're being given on this Fast Start. If you do these things, I promise you, you're going to have successful results. So I'm always here to help in any way. And I thank you all very much. I'm very grateful to have the opportunity to speak to everybody in other regions. It's so exciting to me that we're growing on this really cool platform. One good thing this COVID might have brought us is thinking outside of the box of how we communicate with each other. And so I am so thrilled to be here on your second day, right here at the top of it, and look forward to seeing great things from all of you soon. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brenda.
All right. Good luck, everybody. See you soon.
All right, everyone. I'm just going to share again the last slide of Brenda's presentation. So I'm going to reiterate what you may already know, or if this is the first time you're hearing it. Most of the presentations will have some action items, some activities, recommended things to do to help you build your business, expand your minds, and develop. So in your ebook, if you haven't gotten your ebook yet, We'll send it out again in an email this afternoon. Download your ebook. It's going to be a PDF fillable activity guide, if you will. And Know Your Why here is going to be one of the activities for you to complete in your ebook. Also, if you see a hyperlink, this is an active hyperlink for you. So when you get those slides from us in PDF format, if you do go ahead and click it, it's going to take you right to what we want you to view, to watch. So when we talk about Simon Sinek and we recommend that you watch his, TED Talk video, it's going to be right here for you. You don't have to go seek it out. It's going to be a direct link for you to do that. So we'd like you to take part in your learning outside of these sessions and do these activities, watch whatever we recommend. And then each week, if you would, share with your manager. Share with your manager your progress, what you learned. Talk it out, because you're always going to get something more by, conversing about what you're learning. You're going to get new ideas from talking to your manager. And you also want to show your manager your ambition, your motivation, and that you are actively trying to build your business. If you haven't received the link for your ebook, we will be sending it out again. I'll also put it in the chat. You can download directly from the chat here. But right now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give you a break. So tell me, is a 10-minute break going to be long enough? Because I don't want to give you more than that, because you may not come back. Yes. All right. So with that 10-minute break, make sure you stand up, move around, get the blood circulating. And when you come back and you're ready to go, give me a message in the chat that you're here, you're excited, and you're ready to start again. All right, everyone, break. But feel free to unmute, ask questions, put questions in the chat. Team members will be monitoring it for you. All right, everyone. So our objectives of this particular session, business planning, is to know and learn and practice the 3 must-haves for you to be successful professional sales associates. The first one being having the right mindset. No matter what it is you decide to do in the world, you have to start with the right mindset. Secondly, you need to have a goal, something that you're shooting for that's driving you. You have to have a goal and a roadmap to get there. So having a goal and working a plan. And the last thing, because it is a sales position, because it is real estate, you all need to have prospecting in your DNA. Now, I know for some people, prospecting is a bad word, but if you have the right mindset, prospecting is going to be living your life naturally, but with intention. Living your life, doing all the things that you love to do and in, hyper mode. So whether that's, networking with others, going to all your kids' sporting events, hosting parties, doing volunteering and community activities. Well, guess what? That's work. As long as you do it and have the ability to remember, oh, I am in real estate. I need to make sure that that comes up somehow, or that I'm reminding people, or I'm listening for an opportunity to help others. Then prospecting will always be a positive word. So remember it as living your life naturally, but with intention. So those are our objectives out of this session. And we are actually going to start by watching a video. So if your internet is slow, this will be slow. If your volume is turned really down, this will be low. So right now, locate your volume, turn it all the way up, and let's hope that all of your other devices throughout the house are not draining your internet speed. So here's a little video for you that we'll talk about afterwards. Oh, you know what? Hold on. My mistake. I did not click to share my computer sound, so give me a second. I hate it when that happens. Share sound. PowerPoint. Back from the beginning. Whew. And here we go.
Let me tell you something you already know. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is gonna hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done.
Pain is temporary. It may last for a minute, or an hour, or a day, or even a year. But eventually, it will subside, and something else will take its place. If I quit, however, it will last forever.
The margin for error is so small. I mean, 1/2 a step too late or too early, and you don't quite make it. 1/2 second too slow, too fast, you don't quite catch it. The inches we need are everywhere around us. They're in every break of the game, every minute, every second.
You got a dream, you got to protect it. People can't do something themselves. I'm going to tell you, you can. You want something, go get it. Go get it. Period.
Don't be afraid to fail. You can't always win, but don't be afraid of making decisions.
You have to believe that something different can happen. He who says he can and he who says he can't are both usually right. That most of you say you want to be successful, but you don't want it bad. You just kind of want it. You don't want it badder than you want to party. You don't want it as much as you want to be cool. Most of you don't want success as much as you want to sleep.
Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us.
Deep down, ask yourselves, who do you want to be? Figuring out for yourselves what makes you happy, no matter how crazy it may sound to the people.
Make a choice. Like, you just decide what it's going to be, who you're going to be, how you're going to do it. Just decide.
Why not? Why can't I be the MVP of the league? Why can't I be the best player in the league? I don't see why. Why can't I do that?
What is it you said to the kid? It ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit. And keep moving forward. How much you can take. And keep moving forward. Get up. Get up. And don't ever give up.
We can stay here, get the shit kicked out of us, or we can fight our way back into the light. We can climb out of hell. 1 inch at a time. To be able at any moment to sacrifice what you are for what you will become. Most of you won't be successful because when you're studying and you get tired, you quit. I don't do well in math. You're right. You ain't never studied. I'm not good in writing because you have never written before. Talent you have naturally. Skill
is only developed by hours and hours and hours of beating on your craft. If you are not making someone else's life better, then you're wasting your time. Don't cry to give up, cry to keep going. Don't cry to quit. You already in pain, you already hurt. Get a reward from it.
Now, if you know what you're worth, now go out and get what you're worth. But you gotta be willing to take the hits and not point fingers saying you ain't where you want to be because of him or her or anybody. Cowards do that, and that ain't you. You're better than that.
Because every day is a new day. Every moment is a new moment. So now you got to go out and show them that I'm a different creature. Now!
I'm gonna show you how great I am.
The 17th chapter of St. Luke it is written, the kingdom of God is within man, not one man nor a group of men, but in all men, in you. You, the people, have the power to create machines, the power to create happiness. You, the people, have the power to make this life free and beautiful, to make this life a wonderful adventure.
Now, what are you gonna do?
Because limits, like fears, are often just an illusion.
All right, everyone. So whether you like sports, whether you like movies, it doesn't really matter, right? Because the message in this is clear. We all have our own individuals that we look up to, maybe even emulate. They may be our family, our friends, colleagues, successful people that are the best in their actual field. It's important that you have role models, that we have role models to shape our growth, to shape our development. It's equally important that we have inspiration. And that's why we started out today with talking about your why. Because without that solid core foundation, real estate is going to be very challenging for you. Okay. I've onboarded hundreds of new agents. And the first question I always ask them, okay, why real estate and why now? If money was their number one answer, I knew that they probably were going to be unhappy and probably not make it. Okay, we all have to make money, but there are so many other ways to easily make money. Okay, there is no immediate gratification when it comes to being a realtor, everyone. So we want to start with having inspiration. So for me, I want you to put in the chat, give me 1 or 2 words in the chat that was your takeaway from that video. Okay, so just give it just a couple seconds, 1 or 2 words. And I want you to remember those words for yourself as you are charting these waters of beginning your real estate career. Okay? As independent contractors, you get to decide, are you going to be successful or are you not? It's going to depend upon you and how hard you're willing to work. Okay? Thanks for putting all your chat in there, everyone. I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint presentation. We're going to move on to the next slide. And the next slide is going to show you some very prominent figures in our society and culture in general who have experienced the trials and tribulations that you will experience, okay? We wish it was all sunshine and rainbows, but there will be those days where you're going to have to rely on that why, that motivation to get you up and out of bed and to stop you from crying. Okay, crying is allowed in real estate because guess what, guys? There's going to be some days where you're going to feel defeated, but as long as you remember your why, your inspiration, you will move past it. Okay, and so we want to just point out for you here that some of the greats, the biggest names that we know, have experienced defeat. They've experienced rejections and failures. People have told them no. Okay, so the important thing is for us to start with the right mindset. Have the right supporters in our corner, okay? Believe in yourself first and foremost that you can persevere, okay? So when you were growing up, if you were of a generation where you're under the age of 50 probably, you know, what kid didn't want to be like Michael Jordan, right? He was an idol to kids who like sports and basketball and all that. But are we willing to do what it took Michael to do to be successful. Only you can answer that. Are you willing to do what it takes to be successful in your own mind? And you actually will define what is success. And we're going to do that through our business planning. So let's start out with having that right mindset. So right now, if you have a piece of paper, a writing utensil, I want you to put on that piece of paper these 9 smiley faces or stars or points, whatever is quick and efficient for you. Put down these 9 symbols. 9 symbols, I don't care what the symbols are. Here we have smiley faces because we want to portray positivity. So put on that paper those 9 symbols, okay? And I'm going to give you some directions. It's a puzzle. Maybe you've seen it before, and if you have, don't give it away. But for a lot of you, it'll be the first time. And if you have seen it before, you've probably forgotten the answer, because I forget every single time what the actual answer is. So grab that writing utensil, grab your paper, and I want you using only 4 lines and without taking that writing utensil off the paper. It must be in contact with the paper the whole time. Connect every dot or every smiley face or every star, whatever symbol you drew. Take a moment and complete this exercise. And when you have finished it, give me a shout out in the chat that you're done. I'm going to give you about a minute. I'm going to watch your faces as you've tried to figure out this puzzle. Four lines without picking up your writing utensil, and connect every single symbol again. I'll share with you the 9 dots again. It's basically a box. When you think you've got it, give a shout out. Or if you've given up, that's okay too. Tell me you've given up. Amanda's done. Ambika is done. Okay, that's 2 of you. Brittany's missing 1, okay. Meredith's got 1 that's an outlier as well. Tracy's done. All right, I'm gonna give you 30 more seconds, everyone. A lot of you are missing 1, that's okay. Corey's done. And done doesn't mean they were successful, everyone. That means they might have given up. Oh, Amanda, don't give away the secret. All right, everyone, I'm gonna put you out of your misery. I'm gonna show you the answer. Are you ready? 1 line, 2 lines, 3 lines, 4 lines, okay? So what this is demonstrating is as you begin your real estate career, building your business, as you embark on this journey, I want you to strive to go outside the lines of conventional thinking, okay? The limits that you put on this activity, you will also put on your own life and the things that you do and the ways in which you'll succeed. We sometimes create our own limits, okay? So I want you to be that green penguin in the sea of black and white, because the best agents and some of the most successful agents out there are great problem solvers, okay? They think outside the box, okay? They're gonna be unconventional in how they problem solve. One of your biggest challenges is to bring deals together, provide exceptional services, but the more important part is keeping the deals together, okay? Keeping deals together will be your biggest challenge. And if you start your business with thinking outside the box, you will be able to keep more deals together. Okay, there's lots of reasons top producers out there are top producers. And one of the many reasons is because they think outside the box. So the significance of this activity is that you go in having the right mindset, okay? Begin this journey with success in mind and don't let things limit you, okay? Think outside the box. This is just a quote that we want to have in here because it's psychologically driven and it's Gandhi. And so it's got the right mindset for no matter what you decide to do in life, okay? So with the right mindset, our thoughts have to be positive, okay? Because what we think in our heads actually becomes our words. And our words, if they're positive, will lead to positive behaviors. And those positive behaviors, of course, become our habits. And I would strongly encourage you, develop good habits now, okay? Because those good habits will lead you to success and will create your value system. And our values will become our destiny, everyone. So keep it as positive as possible. Print this out, have it on a wall, whatever you need to do. But this is basic psychology, everyone, and this will serve to help you be successful in your career, okay? So with business planning, we start with the right mindset. Now it's time to set goals on what we want to achieve, to create that plan in order to achieve those goals. So right here on this slide, we have the 7 components of a real estate business plan, okay? The 7 components are listed here for you. Your mission statement, which encompasses your why, may also encompass your value statement. On day 1, you saw that. You heard the mission, vision, and the values of Howard Hanna. You can start there, absolutely, because that's who you represent. That's who you are now. So you do have that base already, but now what about your own? The next is the SWOT analysis, your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And we're going to go over that in a little more detail. Your goals. Now, most agents are going to do an annual goal, okay? Of course, you want an annual goal, but then you want to break it down into bite-sized benchmarks and chunks so that you can actually, wrap your arms around what that annual goal may be. And then your strategic plan. What are the steps and activities that you're going to do day in and day out, every week, every month, in order to achieve those goals on a timetable? And of course, who your target audience is, who are you trying to help? Okay. And then what are your systems and processes? So these are the actual 7 components of a real estate plan. And we're talking to you today about business planning because a lot of agents don't actually create a plan, okay? They operate on charisma and luck and, things falling in their lap. They don't actually forge a plan and have a goal and the steps to get there. And that's why, unfortunately, a lot of agents do fail, okay? It's like any small business. In the first 2 years, you're gonna have great turnover because in the first 2 years, the majority of small businesses will fail. So to be in control of your business, your destiny, your success, you're going to want a business plan with consistent activities and goals in order to help you be successful, okay? So don't just be one of those agents. We don't want you to be in that sea of black and white. We want you to be a green penguin. We want you to be successful, not just with wishes and hopes, but with goals and plans. So I'm going to back up a second. And I'm going to tell you a little story. So Harvard Business School did a 25-year longitudinal study. So any of you with any kind of research background, you know that that is huge. Over 25 years, Harvard Business School followed 1,600 small businesses to see how they turned out, what their success was actually like, okay? And then they published this actual study. So I'm going to ask you, when they followed over 25 years, these actual 1,600 small businesses, what do you think they found in regards to business planning? Go ahead, unmute, put it in the chat. What's your guess at what they found?
Most people didn't have a business plan.
Malachi, most people didn't have a business plan. That's a very good guess. Anyone else?
or the ones that had a plan were more successful at the 25-year mark than the ones that didn't?
Very good, Jen. Anyone else want to take a stab at this? Jordy,
I'll
them
say-
didn't have a plan. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, I'll say that they had something good in place at first, and then with the distractions and pressures of life got deterred, and maybe stopped after that.
Absolutely, because that happens to all of us. There's all kinds of distractions that get in the way of us achieving our goals, right? It's called life, everyone. No matter what it is, it's family, it's circumstances. There's things beyond our control sometimes. So we have to remain vigilant and focused on our business plan. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the next slide. For those of you who are really quick and saw it, you might have seen the answer. But what they found with these 1,600 businesses over 25 years, 84% had no written or even a verbal plan. Okay, so these are business owners with passion and desire and probably strengths, but they had no path to success. 13% actually could verbalize what their goals were. Okay, yeah, they wanted to, achieve a certain number in a certain amount of time. Great, we can all verbalize that. And only 3% actually had a written business plan. That is so minute, everyone. 3%. And of those 3%, guess who had the wealth? 98% of the 3% had the wealth, guys. So success, however it may be defined according to their business plan, but according to Harvard Business School, obviously money being the end game, 98% came from that 3%. So if this study alone doesn't drive home for you the importance of having a written business plan for your own success, I don't know how else to explain it to you guys, okay? So this is published. You can Google it, look it up if you want to. So in our business planning, our first step, we already talked about it, is defining your mission and vision, okay? What do you want? Why do you want it? And how are you going to get it are questions that you can answer to help you define that. We talked about the why at length already. The second step is our SWOT analysis, okay? Our SWOT analysis, and what the SWOT acronym actually stands for, is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, okay? So I want you to think of these as internal as well as external, right? The questions on the right-hand side are questions for you to ask of yourself in helping to define where your strengths may actually lie, okay? As a new agent, can you answer these questions to help set yourself apart to help you be successful, right? So SWOT analysis. So let's take a look a little deeper at what those categories actually mean, because as a new agent, it's going to be a challenge. So let's give you some examples of what we mean for you as a new agent. Your strengths. Don't think of your strengths in terms of you as a new agent, okay? Because as a new agent, it might be a challenge for you to actually come up with the strengths, right? Because you're thinking, well, I'm brand new, I don't know enough, I might not have my confidence yet. That's okay. Your strengths come from who you are, your makeup, your experiences prior to real estate, everyone. So your education, what you've gone through in life, your positive traits about you as a person, okay? The reputation that you hold with your friends and family and what they think of you, okay? The fact that you're with Howard Hanna is a huge strength because we are a major player in all of our markets, okay? In the Pittsburgh market, if you are in the Pittsburgh market, Pittsburgh DAG put out a recent video, you can look it up, and basically he said, you're either Howard or you're Hanna. Okay, so that's going like wildfire today. Maybe because we are so strong in markets, one of your strengths is market share. Okay, so know what your strengths are, analyze it, write it down, and be able to speak to it. Now, of course, as a new agent, some of your weaknesses may be your lack of experience, your lack of training, okay? Not having that business plan yet, not knowing how to use your tools. But these weaknesses, and the reason why we identify them in the SWOT analysis, is so that we can overcome them, everyone. So when you identify your weaknesses of experience and training and all of that kind of thing, guess what? You have an entire team of people to help you compensate for that. You have managers who will help you prepare and go on appointments. You have colleagues in your office who you can ask questions of and get advice from. So the whole point of developing the SWOT analysis is so that you can overcome before these become challenges in your success, okay? Your opportunities are often external, okay? So what's going on in your marketplace, okay? What's happening around you? What new businesses are coming in? What educational opportunities are you taking advantage of, okay? So what opportunities out there for you exist so that you can add to your column of strengths, if you will, or what opportunities out there exist so that you can overcome any weaknesses that you have. And then the last category are threats, okay? Threats could be those external factors. Some people may think right now with low inventory, low listing inventory, that's a threat. Well, of course it's a threat. It's always a threat, okay? Are interest rates going to rise? Well, they're only going to go up because going down is basically impossible because they've been so low for so long that they're certainly not going to be 18 and 21% like they were in the 80s. So take a look at your threats, okay? And how can you work in your business plan to overcome them so they do not become obstacles to your success, okay? So those are just some examples of how you can look at your SWOT analysis to help you out, okay? So the next section of your business planning is to know how much money you must make and how much money you want to make, okay? So knowing these numbers actually require you to know your current household or living expenses, your current or known business expenses. You're not going to necessarily know these numbers. You're going to need help from your manager to help you actually know these numbers. You're just getting started in the business. And if you've been in the business less than a year, you don't necessarily know all of your business expenses. You've never developed a business plan to forecast how much money you're going to spend in marketing each month, okay? So you want to be able to forecast a budget for weekly and monthly business expenses. And you don't yet have the experience to know that. So you're going to have to rely on others to kind of help you out with that, okay? So organizing your finances. I know a lot of us weren't really taught how to do this, okay? We weren't taught how to manage our money and how to evaluate and how to actually create a budget. So give me in the chat, how many of you actually operate from a strict household budget, okay? How many of you know down to the penny what you can spend every month, how much is coming in every month, what's going out in bills every month down to the penny? Hopefully some of you do, but I know for me, I never knew. I probably don't know to this day. So we need to know the numbers we need to hit in order to achieve our goals. So if we set a production goal, I want to do $1 million in production in my first year. Okay, $1 million in production. Well, how many appointments is that? What does that translate into? And not everyone's going to want to work with me. So that means I need even more appointments, right? So this is part of creating your business plan. We need to know how much money we need and want to make to cover our expenses and the quality of life we want, or what that pool is going to cost or that trip to Italy is going to cost. You need to know that ahead of time. And then we need to figure out, all right, what's it going to take to actually get to those numbers? So let's take a look at an example. And remember, you're going to get all of these slides, okay? You're going to get all of these slides. So step number 3 is we're going to create a budget, okay? So if you organized your expenses in the beginning and we figured out what those business expenses are, here they are. We figure out our lifestyle and discretionary income expenses. Don't forget that, everyone. COVID's not going to be, a major threat in our lives the way it's been the last year. So eventually we'll be able to live our lives naturally again. So how do you spend your extra money, that discretionary personal income? Are you someone who travels a lot? Do you go out to dinner a lot? Do you go to the movies? Do you allow to do family activities? Okay. All of that goes into it. And then, of course, your investments and retirement. Are we actually planning for those things? This all breaks down into how much money you're going to need monthly, and then of course annually. Okay, so let's use the example that we want $100,000 in gross income. Okay, so that's our actual goal. So for you, you're going to need to figure out a number, what it is. Okay, production number, income number, you want to set one. Okay, and set a realistic one, everyone, and make sure that it's based upon facts and figures from what we just talked about on the previous slide. So how we go about actually creating this business plan is first know what we want to actually make. Then what is the average money I'm going to make on a transaction? You might not know the answer to this if you haven't done any business, so you're going to have to consult with your manager. What's the average sales price for new agents in your office? Or what's the average sales price period for agents in your office? And what is your actual split? Okay, everyone's split may be different, and it's none of our business what your split is. So what's your average takeaway, your average commission on an actual transaction? So what this example is showing us, if we're selling a $150,000 house, my commission is going to be about $2,250, and that's after splits and fees and all that good stuff that goes into every single agent's budget. What it's telling me is if I want to make $100,000 gross commission in a given year, I need 45 transactions based upon a net of $2,250. Okay, so does that make sense? Hopefully the numbers make sense to you. But the bottom line is I now know how many transactions I need. Now from that, how many transactions I need to break that down into buyers and sellers. Okay, how much of my business is going to come from buyer side versus listing side? So what this example is showing that I want to forecast and budget that 25% of my business is going to come from buyers. And if I forecast and budget for it, then I know I need 11 buyer sales that actually close. Okay, they make it to that closing table. And if I need 11 on the buy side, that means that's 34 listings that actually sell and close that I need. Does this math make sense to everyone? Just give me a yes or a no in the chat. Is it making sense to you? Solange says yes, Shawnee. Good, okay. All right, trying to make it as simple as possible and not belabor the point because numbers can be boring and probably part of the reason people don't do it. Okay, so I now know based upon my goal that of those 45 transactions, I need to close 11 buyer sales. I need 34 listings that close. Okay, so we're not done yet. If I need 34 listings that close, and not all of your properties are actually going to make it to the closing table, everyone. There's something called a fall through rate. Fall through rate can be as high as 30%, especially in the challenging market we are in. So you want to estimate a close ratio. Are 100% of your deals going to close? Are 80%? So for this example, we're saying that 75%. 3/4 of my listings are actually going to close. Consummate the deal, sign the papers, and move on. Okay. So if I don't have 100% close rate, then I need even more listings in order to hit my 34 closed listings, right? So I take the percentage, I actually need to get 45 listings throughout a given calendar year in order to hit 75% of them closing to yield my 34 seller sales. Okay, making sense, hopefully. But not everyone's going to list with me, right? I might not like them, they may not like me. Okay, so you also have to figure out a capture rate, everyone. Are you going to get every single listing for every single appointment you go on? My goal for you is absolutely yes. I hope you do 100%. And actually our percentage of capture rate is actually pretty high. And part of that is because we prepare you. Part of that is because of Howard Hanna and its reputation. So for this example, we're just saying 75%. So if not everyone's going to list with me and not every listing is actually going to make it to the closing table, what this is telling me is I have to strive for 60 listing appointments in the calendar year in order to achieve my goal of 34 closed listings. Okay? Give me a yes in the chat if this is making sense for you. This is really important, guys, to drive your activities, to tell you what you need to do day in and day out so that you can be successful and reach your goals, to tell you how many people you need to be in contact with. Okay? So 60 listing appointments in a given calendar year. And of course, we're not working 365. Well, some of us are, but we're not necessarily working 365 days a year. So we have to consider that as well. So think about it. So with that, I need 60 appointments, 60 listing appointments in my year 2021. Now I'm going to talk to a lot of people, but what if only 10% of the people I talk to, reach out to, prospect to, what if only 10% of them actually have a home to sell, actually want to meet with me, right? It's important because not everyone is going to. So what this is telling me is I need to have at minimum 600 conversations, everyone. These are actual conversations. 600 conversations with individuals who are looking to sell their properties, to list their properties. That is a large number. But can you see how this is going to drive your activity? Okay, telling you how many calls to make every day or how many people to reach out to via text and email to generate a phone call. And again, we're not working 365 days a year. We're going to calculate 250. We're going to take a vacation in there and not work 7 days a week. So at the end of your actual planning, it's telling you how many contacts per day. This helps you drive your activities. Okay? If you want to be successful, this is how granular you can get so that you can achieve your success. Okay? I'm not going to go into detail about the buy side, but it's the same concept. I need 11 buyers to actually close. 90%, I'm going to estimate high, of my buyers actually do close. So I need to work with 13 buyers, get 13 buyers under contract in the given year. Okay, but not every buyer wants to work with me, and I don't want to work with every buyer. So if I do a capture rate of 75%, I need to hold 18 buyer consultations throughout the year. And when I hold those 18, some of them may determine that they don't want to enter today's market. It's too challenging. Or they've realized, oh, my credit score is not high enough. I'm never going to get pre-approved. That's what happens when you actually do a buyer's consultation. So not all of them are going to agree to meet with you, or not all of them are going to move forward. So again, it's breaking down for us so that we can actually have a plan, chart a path to success, that I need to be in contact with almost one buyer every single day. One buyer who actually wants to work with me in order to achieve my goal. Okay, so it's basic math, but until we do the math, we don't know how many contacts we should be having, how many conversations we should be having. We know that the sky's the limit. Have as many as possible. It's a numbers game, real estate. The more you do, the better off you're going to be. So in short, to make $100,000 per year gross income, you need to get in front of 3 people every single day, 3 actual conversations with individuals who actually are looking to buy or sell real estate. Okay, questions about that so far? Feel free to unmute. No questions? Too much?
When you say conversation, can you expand on that?
Conversations. So a lot of your activity of prospecting There's only really 4 ways to prospect, everyone. We're going to talk about that in the next session. Send, call, see, and post, okay? Send, call, see, and post, and there's a hierarchy of value. So conversation is actually conversation that this person has agreed to talk with you about their goal to buy or sell real estate, okay? And a lot of our activity is leading up to that conversation. So we're sending text messages and we're sending emails and we're sending snail mail, whatever it is, to our sphere of influence, our family and friends, to farm areas, to our neighborhoods. So we're sending. Well, the whole goal of sending is to get to a conversation. We're calling our sphere of influence. We're calling our farm area. We're calling, leads, if you will. Okay? We're sending, we're calling, we're seeing people face to face, the highest touch value. We're seeing people face to face, reminding them that we exist, that we care about them, that we are in the real estate world. Okay? That's your highest touch value. And then posting, social media, that's our other avenue for generating conversation about buying and selling. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay, it's actual face-to-face or over the phone, actual conversation about their goals to buy or sell. That's how many people, 3 a day, that you want to get in front of to make that $100,000. Okay. All right. Any other questions about that?
Wendy, that was based on a $150,000 home, correct? All that activity. You could sell $400,000 homes. You could have a goal to list only $300,000 homes, and it changes your activity, right?
Absolutely. All your numbers will shift and change. Absolutely. So it was just a concrete example, pulling a number out to share with you. So in your marketplace, this is why it's vitally important for you to sit down with your manager, find out what the average sales price is in your office, in your marketplace, because it's going to vary. And you also know your sphere, guys. You know where your friends and your family live and the level of home that they actually have as far as value goes. So you want to take that into consideration when you create your numbers, because obviously if they're all living in $500,000 plus homes, then your numbers are going to change drastically, everyone. Okay. So make sure you do consult with your manager so that you can get some realistic numbers as you move forward and chart your path. Okay. So figuring out the numbers might be the actual easiest part. The hard part is executing your plan. Okay. What am I going to do? And so we start with time management. Okay. How will you manage your time? Okay. And unfortunately, as human beings, we tend to not be so good at this. Okay. So if you already know that about yourself, that time management is, maybe not one of your strengths, then it's something that you absolutely want to work on. So this example here is on the morning, work on your business. Okay. Those are all those, tasks that you have to do every day. But in the afternoon, work in your business. That's actually seeing people, calling people, engaging people, networking, volunteering, whatever it is. It's getting in front of that buyer or seller. It's having appointments. This slide here is just showing you an example of what they call the 80-20 principle. And in this example, it's letting you know that although there's a whole lot of agents out there, there's a whole lot of agents who are not making money. Okay. 80% of commissions are only earned by 20% of realtors, folks. Okay. So if you want to be part of that 80%, then you have to have a business plan so that you have direction and activity so that you can have measurements and actually follow through. So what the 20% will yield is that you need to leverage, do more of what works for you and avoid what doesn't. Remember when I said live your life naturally? Okay, so you're going to start off increasing all those activities that you love. Okay, because if you love what you do, you're not actually working. So increase those things that you love. Okay, you got to learn all the hard stuff Okay, learn all the hard stuff, the basic principles of prospecting, going after FSBOs, going after expireds, holding the open houses. That will grow your business, and you need to learn how to do all of that. But we also have to figure out what actually works for you, what's bringing in the business, and that's going to be part of your tracking system. Okay, where's your business coming from? Who are your actual targeted buyers and sellers? Okay, how are you spending your time? Remember, appointments are the most important thing. So you want to be able to figure out what's going to work for you. And Brenda harped on this for us, thank goodness. I thought it was a perfect segue, her section into this, but she talked about having a planner. Okay, time management starts with actually blocking your time. Some of the most successful agents I know, they do all of their calls in the morning, get them out of the way. Okay, not only calls that they're returning, but they're prospecting calls to their sphere of influence. I know one agent, when she drives through the park at like 10 miles an hour, because you can't go any faster, she's got an entire list of people that she's calling from her sphere on her way to the office. Okay, they have set schedules of what they do to prospect to build their business. So you all have very complicated and busy lives, I'm sure. You have other obligations. Some of you may actually have another career or another job, and maybe you hope to move into real estate full time. So you are going to have to be even more diligent at scheduling time to actually work in your business. Okay, you're going to actually have to schedule time to do your prospecting, the reaching out. Okay, so how many people know about opportunity time? Have you heard of opportunity time yet? Probably going to talk about it in the next segment, but has anyone heard of it yet? Check my chat. Good, I'm glad most of you have. Okay, opportunity time. It's also called floor time. If your office has it and you have the availability, sign up for it, okay? Because it's going to be a set number of hours for you to prospect, okay? People calling into the office or walking into the office, that's luck and chance, and you need to be prepared for that by being on opportunity time. But your opportunity time is a great way to start to schedule purposeful, intentional prospecting activities, okay? So take advantage of it. It's not just about the calls and who's coming in the front door. It's about scheduling time to do those things that you have to do to be successful, okay? Anyone have any examples of success yet from opportunity time they want to share with us? Feel free to unmute. Olivia's doing it from 1 to 5 today. That's a great time to do it, Olivia, because at 3 o'clock we usually have our sugar lows and our burnout, and we're like feel like we're done working. And that's when people start to get online and looking at houses, and they might start to make calls. So being in the office and available to take those calls will probably yield you some good results. Laura has said she's gotten 2 leads from opportunity time. Great. In my last Fast Start series, I was floored by the number of agents who got their first listings, their first listing opportunities from opportunity time. Just by simply being in the office, available to take a call, people were calling in saying, hey, I want to list my home. Can I talk to an agent? Okay, so consider that opportunity time as a perfect time to work on your actual prospecting. And as we said before, appointments are our primary focus, okay? My husband is a realtor, and he has not had as many appointments in the last few weeks as I would like, making me a little uncomfortable that he's not as busy as I think we probably should be. So appointments are often a good benchmark of whether you are doing enough of what you have scheduled to do, okay? Remember, it's a numbers game, okay? So you want to focus on getting appointments, even if it's just an appointment to reconnect, to have conversation, to see how someone is doing. It's a great way to start to build relationships, folks, okay? So appointments to actually meet with a seller or a buyer is our actual focus. So as you break down that business plan, you want to be having as many appointments as possible, of course, but based upon your numbers, focusing on, all right, if I need to meet with, 2 buyers this week, who am I reaching out to? How am I finding them? Am I offering out a service to get those appointments? Okay. Track them, know how many people you are meeting with, and if you're converting them so that you know your own conversion rate. So as you formulate your business plan, remember your business plan is going to be fluid. Okay. It's going to change and you want to be continuously working on it. It's not something that you create and then set on the shelf, everyone. You want to constantly be focused on what's in it and modifying it as you learn and grow. Okay. Any questions about the focus on listing or buyer appointments? It's pretty straightforward, I think. So what is going to be your strategy, folks? What are you going to do day in and day out to get those appointments? How are you going to structure your time and your schedule to meet your goals? So some ideas that we suggest you start with is to make a plan to start your planning. Engage CRM. That's what this engage means right here. Okay, your manager may ask you to do this, but you can do it without them if you know your numbers. But log into your Engage CRM and set your production goal for 2021. You might not know what your production goal should be if you haven't talked to your manager about what your goals are and what the average sales price is and all that good stuff. So maybe your first step is actually to talk to your manager, but then go into Engage CRM, set your 2021 goal. Your next step, and we're going to talk about it in the next session, is you need a database. Okay, your 150 people that already know, like, love, and trust you. Okay, those family, friends, neighbors, current colleagues, past colleagues, high school friends, college friends, you name it. You want 150 people in your database, and we're going to give you some tools to help you develop that. Okay, if you have a current transaction, great. In Engage, it'll help you keep track of your activities and where you are in the process. So you'll learn about that a little later. One thing to help yourself out is you never know when that listing and buyer appointment are going to come up. So be prepared. Go into Hannah presentations in advance and start formulating your presentation. Take a look at all your pages and options. Okay. If you have access to Hannah presentations, that means you have access to GoHannah, means you have a Howard Hanna email, you can go in and do this now. And we're going to go over this much later in a session, but be over prepared, okay? Anticipate that you're going to have business today, business tomorrow, and start to put that stuff together. Another recommendation is Real Scout, okay? Real Scout is your customized property search for clients, customers, friends, neighbors, for everyone. Well, make sure you're set up in Real Scout, okay? Set up a search for your neighborhood so that you are the market expert, so you can see how it actually works. So if you have an email besides your Howard Hanna email, put yourself in as a new client, set up that search, start to receive the properties, interact with the tool so you know how it works, so you can explain it to everyone else and get everyone else on board to sign up, okay? And then of course, open to close. We mentioned it in the Wednesday webinar yesterday if you were on, but we will teach it to you throughout these sessions. But open to close as your initiating tool, if you will, as you start to do your open houses, okay? So these are some essential things to learn right from the start, so you're actually prepared for those appointments, okay? So once you have some systems set up, that your database needs to be in place, okay? I implore you, while you're working on your business plan, please be working on your database, okay? That's a minimum of 150 people with everything you can possibly know about them. I was talking to my husband, who I told you was a realtor yesterday, and we're holding an Easter event with Easter Bunny and, past clients coming to get pictures with their kids, and we're going to do Easter egg hunt and all that kind of stuff. And, he says, if we were better at using our CRM, we would have had all of our clients identified with children and how old they are. So it would make it easier for us to reach out and invite just those folks. Yeah, absolutely. If you work in your database to its full extent, you can do that. It's that granular, folks, that you can reach out just by identifying, all right, here's my past clients. Here's everyone with kids under age 18. Here's kids under, 10 and under. These are the folks that we need to reach out to regarding the Easter money, right? That's how good your database can be if you're actually using it, folks. So the first step is you gotta set it up, okay? So I'm not gonna go over this slide because we're getting close to our end time, and we are going to talk about this extensively in cultivating and growing your sphere, our next segment. But essentially, anyone you work with has to like you first, okay? And we all know lots of people who are licensed. They may not be active, they may not be good. So first they need to know you, they need to like you, and they need to trust that you can get the job done. Okay, that's vitally important. So how are you going to stay top of mind with those people? That's your daily work inside and out. And if you have that database in place, it's going to make it so much easier for you to stay top of mind with your immediate sphere. Okay, hopefully that makes sense to you. And your activities will be in your ebook. This is just a screenshot for you of what those activities are. What questions do you have? Because I know that was overwhelming and a lot. Hopefully it made sense though. Questions, comments? Is your brain hurting?
Wendy, I have a question, actually.
Yes, Deanna, go ahead.
Thank you. Great presentation, by the way. So in the next segment, are you going to go over how to, I've already downloaded my contacts and engage on the CRM spreadsheet, and I haven't done anything yet with any of them. So I'm kind of looking like, what's my next step kind of thing.
Yep, Natalie Dogood is going to actually get into Engage for as much time as she has. And there are lots of sessions that are already recorded on Engage, and you'll have lots of training, if you will, in that area. But yeah, the next segment, you're definitely going to learn something new to start using your Engage CRM in your database.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Good question. Thanks. Congratulations on having it together already. That's huge.
Took me some time, but it's in there, and I did the right CRM Excel spreadsheet to put them in, so it auto-populated.
That's important to get the right one, so that's awesome. All right, then I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a 5-minute break before we start the next segment. So go ahead, get up, move around, get the blood circulating, shake it out of your head because I just gave you a whole lot. 5 minutes, everyone.
Hey, Wendy. You're on mute. Sorry.
Okay. You get to say that.
So the right Excel spreadsheet, is that the one that Miss Laura sent after the first recruiting session that we had with her?
Probably.
Okay, I just wanted to double check.
Yes, and yeah, it has to be the same. Anyway, yeah, you probably have the exact one that you need if she did send that out.
Okay, and so that's the easiest one that's going to be to send and to Engage after we put all the information.
Yep.
Okay, awesome. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, Stephanie. Did she go away?
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm on my phone and I was trying to talk, but I'm muted. So
no, you're fine.
Do you know if it's called it would say Outlook CSV or it'd say Engage CSV? Do you know what the title of the file was?
I don't know, but I can look real quick.
Well, they both work, but they would just be uploaded into different spots. I'm sure Natalie will discuss a little bit of that. But the Engage one is significantly longer. It has I don't know, 50 some columns.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. It was the one that she sent like right after we had our first meeting. Here it is. Okay, she said I attached the Excel web sheet. It just says Excel spreadsheet for a database. It has like, I don't think it's a specific one.
Okay. Well, the only thing is, I mean, either way, it will work. You'll just, when you try to upload it into one, it might say that it's not the right one, and then we'll just go to the other one. I was just curious if you knew what the title was.
It just says on the thing, it just says Excel spreadsheet for a new database. It's like 267 bytes, and it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, like 12 columns on the top of it.
Oh, good. It's the Outlook one.
Yeah. Okay, so that works.
Yeah, there's lots of
Yeah,
different
the
ways to
Engage one has like assistant's birthday or something, right? I mean, it's like, you would know if it was that is the correct, way more digestible version.
Okay.
So you're
awesome.
good.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Sorry, I just had to step away for a minute, so I didn't hear that. Where do we find that Excel sheet?
I'm sure Wendy's going to send it. Well, I guess
We're gonna give it in the follow-up email today.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Yeah, and Natalie's going to talk about Engage CRM and probably show you or highlight basically 2 different ways for you to use Excel to get your contacts into your CRM.
Okay, and I have one more question, which doesn't have anything to do with what we've been talking about, but I've just heard like some agents use like an iPad or like have found that like useful. Is that like something that like you guys use? Do you recommend getting that? Is it like necessary or not really?
What we'll do is we'll send out our IT department's recommendations.
Okay.
For whatever device you want to get. So it'll have the specific things on there for what your device should have. And it's just going to be up to you what you want to use.
Okay.
Okay, everyone, if you can hear the sound of my voice coming from your device, this is letting you know that your break is over or just about to be over. So come on back, give me a shout out in the chat that you're here, ready to go. And let me see if Janice is on. Janice, are you with us?
I am. Hi, Wendy.
Oh, how are you? It's nice to meet you. I'm making you.
Nice to meet you as well.
Thank you. All right, you are now a co-host, Janice. All right, if you're back, give me a shout out. Okay, 40 some of you have shouted out of 100 and some odd people. All right, Janice, they are all yours. I've given you permission to share. We can monitor the chat for you if you like. Just let us know how we can assist.
That would be great. Thank you, Wendy. Hi, everyone. I'm Janice McCormick. I'm the manager of the Hudson, Ohio office, and it's great to see 130 of you on here. It's amazing doing this universally for the whole company. This is our first week doing this, so this is a lot of fun. So Wendy talked a lot about databases. I think she called it a database in Ohio. In Cleveland, we call it database. It's our Cleveland accent. And in your ebook, you have 150 ways to build your database. I'm going to be talking about the why part of why this is so important in cultivating your business. And then Kate and Natalie are going to come on after I'm done and do the how. How do you enter all of that into Engage and then connect with your customers once they're in there? So I'm going to get right to my screen share. It says only one participant at a time, actually. Not able to get on here, Kate and Wendy.
All right, give us a sec. And
It is clicked on multiple participants.
No,
Hmm.
sorry about this.
it may be.
I'm
some
good.
of- Oh, okay, good.
There's
Some of the
issues.
settings were a little.
A little wonky. Okay, so this picture says it all. It does really simplify it, but today we're talking about planting seeds for you to grow your business from starting today until all the way in the future. And what I love about this class, and I know that you guys have been inundated with so much information. What I love about this class is you literally can start what I'm talking about today, like right after the class is over. You don't have to know technology. You don't have to know all of our tools to get started. You will need to know those, obviously, to get everything together, but this is going to help you just get started. So I'm just going to go over what we're talking about today for the next hour or two, to first of all, identify what your sphere of influence is, to create systems in place for yourself so you will stay top of mind with your customers, to build strong client relationships, and even more importantly, referral business. One of my favorite topics that we'll be going over in detail is how to become the local expert in your market and to become a resource for your clients. So let's start by talking about growing your sphere. Your sphere of influence is your database. So the two are the same thing. And this is the very first thing you should be doing. And I know that, you know, with 130 people on here, that you are in different spots in your business. And a lot of you probably already have this, and hopefully I'll be able to give you some new information. For those of you that have not started your list yet, this is the very first thing you should be doing as a new agent. When I became a new agent 13 years ago, I spent the first week in the office every day with my laptop typing in all of the names of everybody that I knew. So hopefully you've already started that, so you're not starting behind the 8 ball. But we're entering in names of people that I identify as Wendy said, people who know and trust you already. But it's also, if you think about it, anyone who would recognize your name or your face if they received a marketing piece from you or saw you on social media or saw you in an ad, they would at least know who you are. So we're going to be talking a lot about that today. We're also talking about, you know, meeting face to face with people in the world of the pandemic, which hopefully is coming to an end in the first half of this year. But if you are meeting with clients in advance, which we absolutely propose that you do, so you're not just jumping up and showing houses without meeting people. So as this picture indicates, you're going to be doing Zoom meetings, whether you send somebody a video in advance, which is always nice too, a little video introduction of yourself. You should be sitting down and meeting with clients in person so they can put a name with a face. You're going to be sending a lot of electronic, digital, and two-dimensional communication to people, but you want them to see your personality. It's so important. So just make sure that when you do this, you leave your fuzzy slippers and sweats, you know, from your waist down so they can't see it on the screen, and that you're dressed professionally and that you're enthusiastic and you're smiling. Let them see that you are very present, even if you are taking notes. So how do we build a really great database, and how do you add to it from maybe you only have 25 names or 50 names on yours, and how do we get to that 150 or beyond? How do you get to 300? A great way to do it is by understanding where people are in their lives. And we talk about Ford a lot at Howard Hanna. It's family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. All of those 4 things can indicate a change in somebody's life. And if there's a change in somebody's life, there's a good chance that they'll also be making a real estate move at some point. So we really need to understand our client's position. Where are they in their life? You know, what are their goals? What are their objectives? We can't serve them unless we know what that is. So keeping your clients motivated during the whole buying and selling process is super important. I've always said, with agents who really make it in the business and their clients who get a successful outcome, it kind of all comes down to motivation. We can't make somebody be motivated, but we can certainly move them along the continuum by asking the right questions and then supplying great service for them. Really listening to our clients is so super important. One of the most important things you can do is, when you are talking to somebody, make sure that you stop and listen and then repeat back to them what they just said to you. That way that they understand that you understand them. And then the best part about this, and Natalie and Kate will be showing you this when I'm done, is you can actually add clients' notes right into Engage. I know it may not seem like this now, but in the future, you are going to have so many clients at the same time, you won't be able to memorize and keep all of your clients' information in your head. It's going to have to be in a note somewhere. So the next time you do reach out to that client, you'll quickly go into Engage. You'll see the last time you talked to them, you saw that, you know, one of their kids was sick, or, you know, their dog had an accident or something, and then you'll be able to comment on it. And they will think you're amazing that you remembered that about them. It is one of the best ways you can keep connected with your clients. Throughout today's class, and you probably have had this through your other classes, we're going to refer you back to a great class on Hannah U that demonstrates what we're talking about thoroughly and specifically. So when you have a moment, I know today's already Thursday, but when you have a moment this week, if you could watch on Hannah U the class on Ninja. It's a Ninja class, it's 106. It's called Stop Selling. So we're not selling here. We're simply listening, and then we're repeating back to the client what their needs and wants are. So first, how do we even identify who your sphere of influence is? We've already said it's people who know and trust you, people who would know what your picture is, if they would recognize you, or their name, your name. A lot of people call this their wedding list. I like to look at the bigger picture of this, but you could certainly start with that. So let's say you're getting married and money's absolutely no object, and you could invite absolutely everybody who knows you. That's one way of thinking of how to get your list started. Your spouse, your family and friends, people that they know you could include. But in your ebook today, there is this 150 ways to build a database. It's a huge list. I love this. It's 150 ways to build your database. So please take some time to look at this. There's some very obvious ones, and they're obviously friends, family, neighbors, coworkers, but there's also other ones that you're probably not thinking of. Like, for example, what are the names of your children's friends' parents? How about your children's teacher's name? For the ladies in the group, where's your nail salon? Who does your nails every week, or your hair? One that I love is, who sold your last car to you? Your car salesperson could be your next customer. I actually did list and sell my car salesperson's home from 2 Hannah-mobiles ago. He remembered me because I kept in touch with him after I bought my Hannah-mobile from him. And I was the first person he called when he and his wife were relocating, and we listed their house and sold them another one. So make sure you keep in touch with people. Who's your mailman? Who's your prime delivery person, your UPS guy? At the Hudson office, we actually are friends and know we are on the first name basis with these people because we're in our lobby every day. And, if I'm on the phone in my office, I at least wave to them. So if any one of those people ever goes to list a house or buy one, I know they're going to start here because they already know us. Who's your stockbroker? Who do you sit on the bleachers with at your kids' sporting events? Who prepares your taxes? Who grooms your pets for you? These are all people that should be on your database. I know when I first got licensed, I asked my hairstylist if she would allow me to leave a stack of my business cards at her station because, you know, I gave her business and now she could maybe give me business. So always look at it that way. If you're helping someone else's business, they should be helping yours as well. So we're going to start there, and hopefully as soon as we're done with this class and you have time and you learn how to enter these names into Engage from, and if those of you who weren't on yet, you heard Kate talk about putting it on an Excel CSV that gets uploaded right into Outlook is really the most effective way to do this. So you're going to start with the people that you already know. You're going to look at this 5-page, 150 ways how to build a database, and you're going to think, oh my gosh, I have so many more people than I ever dreamt of. I bet more than half of you are already going to start with over 200 names on your list. And then you're going to add people you haven't met yet. So you don't even know who these are yet. It could be someone you meet later today. I love telling stories because these things happen literally every day in our lives. Yesterday, I went to Panera to pick up 2 cartons of coffee because we served Irish coffee at the office for St. Patty's Day. So I had my Howard Hanna mask on, and the 3 people behind the counter all asked me questions about the real estate market because I had it on my face. I mean, obviously, if you wear your pin, same thing. And we're going to talk more about that in a few minutes about buying logo wear from the Bop Shop. But those are people who I had not met until yesterday. I actually, by the end of the conversation, gave them my card, and now they know who I am. So those are people that I could have added to my database. I know that all of you are doing this probably pretty much on a daily basis. You're walking into a store or a business, your dry cleaners, wherever. Those people could now be added to your database. So what relationships do you need to build? Where can you find these people? So I know a lot of you probably live in neighborhoods that perhaps have a homeowners association. This is a great community group to get involved with. You know, and I'll tell you another story. An agent in our office, she's been here 4 years now, but when she moved here, she was new to Hudson and she didn't have a sphere here that would help her in real estate. And she said, I don't know what to do. I don't even know where to start. And I'm up against all of these agents in my office who know everybody in town. I don't even know where to start. So I asked her a lot of questions and found out she does live in a neighborhood with a homeowners association. So I advised her to become involved in it, to sign up, to be on a committee, to host something at her house perhaps. And, you know, fast forward to 4 years later to where we are today. She is now president of the Homeowners Association. And over the last year, she's probably sold 6 houses in her neighborhood from becoming involved with that group. So that's just one example. There are so many other community groups that you can be involved in. We're not asking you to go out and spend all your time volunteering. That's not what we're saying, but at least start with one group, whether it's a local book club or gardening club or a study group. It's a great way to get your name and your face out there. Also through your spiritual, your religious, wherever you belong to, is another great way. Any hobbies that you have and there's a group involved with it, also another great way. So contacting your sphere. So we talked about building your sphere, building your database. Now what do you do with it? Let's say you do have 200 names in there by the end of the week. Now what do you do with it? Well, that's where we come in, teaching you how to put them in Engage. But once you do, you're going to be able to send them out automatic communication. It will be set up for you for the next month, the next year, or even the next 3 years, and you won't have to touch it. So automated systems are fantastic. Howard Hanna is a master at setting those up for you, but we also want you to combine those with more hands-on, maybe even old school with all the high-tech stuff that we do. There should be a nice balance between that and some more, just some old school way of doing things. One of my favorite ones, and it sounds so old fashioned, but it is so effective in today's world, is sending handwritten notes. So if you can say to yourself, I'm going to write 10 handwritten notes every week. I mean, that's nothing. Let's say that's even just a 5-day, 5-day work week for you. That's only 2 notes a day. I'm sure you have time for that. So you can order Howard Hanna note cards online from us, or you can go on Vistaprint, or there's a million sites where you can order some nice note cards. You can have it personalized with your name and logo on it, or you can just have a nice note on there. It's great to get a handwritten note in the mail with a nice to meet you, or for your client's birthday, for holidays, absolutely. And anniversaries, we call them house anniversaries. We actually have a great e-card for that you can use as well. Also, each week, we recommend that you follow up with phone calls to those people you sent cards to last week. So make sure you update all their information, their address, their phone, their email, any important news, so you know when you follow up with them, you already know what happened to them. So adding these contacts into Engage, I just want to go over it one more time, because this is the most important part of what we're talking about today. Your family and friends, their family and friends, someone from your past or your present job, your last job, the schools that maybe you went to, if you're the right age to be, although I shouldn't say that. I'm still friends with all of my friends from high school, and they're in my database. Definitely your neighbors. If your neighborhood has a directory, by all means, put all those people into Engage. Any sports or hobbies that you're involved with, your service providers. Think of how many people you probably see in a year, your doctor, your dentist, your car mechanic, your pet's groomers, your florist, your dry cleaner. These people all know you, and you give them your business and you put money in their pockets. You're just asking them to do the same for you. And then, of course, real estate vendors, anyone who's related to real estate, attorneys, loan officers, home inspectors. My goodness, we keep home inspectors in business. We certainly can ask them for referrals in advance, as well as painters and landscapers. So becoming a local expert, what do we mean by this? This is knowing our inventory. And I know we all have low inventory right now, so there shouldn't be any excuse that you don't know every single house in your market. But we do advise that you preview, either live or virtually, at least 10 houses a week in your market. That's only 2 a day, so that really, should be manageable for you. Fill out the listing fact sheet that is in your ebook. Looks like this. Just so you're keeping track of features and problems and owners' names and maybe any questions you have. Take notes of what you like, what you don't like, what needs updating. This is a way for you to become really familiar with what sells in your market, either by price per square foot or certain updates or certain neighborhoods. So you'll be able to, estimate the sale price, because sellers are going to ask you for this information when you go on a listing appointment, and buyers are going to want to know the same thing. So if you don't know off the top of your head what these things are, they may not think you're the right person for them. So knowing your stats, your statistics, and your inventory in your market is crucial. Luckily, we have access to Trend Graphics that has absolutely all of this on there. So if you don't know how to use Trend Graphics, ask your manager if he or she will sit down with you and show you. It is one of the easiest programs that we have, and it will make you sound like you've been in the business forever. You'll know how many listings are currently on the market. You'll know the average price for sale of active listings. You'll know the average price of listings that have already sold, the average price per square foot, the average days on market, and then really importantly in today's market, the list to sale price ratio. If someone asks you, even just in conversation, how are houses selling right now, you know, what's the average sale price in your area, that you know this off the top of your head. You know, that you could say something like, well, right now in Hudson, houses are selling for 99.5% of the asking price, which is actually what our ratio is in the Hudson market today. So I look on trend graphics at least once a week, so I can make sure that I always know as the manager what these are, and I pass it along to the agents. But this is something you should know. Another really great resource for you is, and I'm not sure if you have showing time in all of your markets, so forgive me, whatever showing service is in your market, you can go online and look at the showing reports. This is also very important to be able to say to a customer, you know, right now, this week, there's only been 10 showings in the 400 to 500 price point. You know, maybe you want to price your house just below that because there were 25 showings in the price range right below that. So that information is very helpful, whether you're working with a seller or a buyer. You also want to create a CMA so you are really sure of what's going on in your neighborhood and around your office. So practice doing a CMA so you get very good at it. Your manager can absolutely help you. We have classes on it. There's YouTube classes on it. Your local MLS offers classes online. So make sure that you are very smooth and very quick at doing this. So the best way to do this is to create a CMA on your own house. You can go into Hannah Presentations or do this, or you could do it on the MLS. Also, maybe practice on one in your neighborhood so you can see what all the comps are in your own neighborhood, especially with the spring weather. You're going to be taking walks, maybe walking your dog with your Howard Hanna baseball cap on or your t-shirt, and someone may ask you how houses are selling in your neighborhood. They'll even ask you what a specific house sold for right down the street, as if we know what every house sold for memorized, but people do expect that from us. But in your own neighborhood, you actually should know that off the top of your head. So definitely practice doing a CMA on a home right in your neighborhood. You can use your local real property portals to find tax information, survey maps, flood zones. Practice on homes that are, you know, cream puffs in great condition, and then maybe a house that needs some work, so you can see what the price differences are between the two of those. I want to touch on social media because it is such an important part of developing your sphere. I know Kate does another class that goes into great depth on this, but I do want to talk about it because I'm finding in my office that not enough agents are using social media maybe the most effective way they can to build their database. So you want to create an inbound content and post to social media 2 or 3 times a week. So what's inbound marketing? It's a blog post, it's infographics, it's newsletters, it's content people would actually want to read. I think one of the biggest mistakes that agents make with social media is they're always posting about their business, whether it's, I just listed this house and it sold in 2 days, or here's my new buyers, or here's an open house that I'm doing. That's all great. It's great information. It shows that you're busy. It shows that you're very active, but it doesn't show anything about your personality, and it doesn't create content that other people would want to share, which is so important. Every Monday, you receive an email from Howard Hanna that in the subject line, it says enhance. Make sure that you open that every Monday. I love that email. When I get it, I open it right away, and I usually pull at least 1 or 2 things to share in my agenda for my office on Tuesday. There is such great content in there. And we've made it so easy for you that you can share right from that email. You don't even have to go out and go back into GoHanna to use this information. You can click and share right from that email that goes out to you. There's great social media posts on there. There's great blogs great articles on what people should be doing. They're pretty to look at. So it's inbound marketing that people would want to share compared to outbound marketing that, you know, is again, just information about real estate. We just don't want consumers to have the perception that, you know, you're disrupting their day by sending information that maybe it doesn't have any value to them. So, you know, just make sure that you have a good balance of inbound and outbound marketing. Inbound marketing is so great because it kind of nudges customers, you know, down the sales funnel by increasing their engagement with you. So we'll be talking about a lot about that this year. I'm sorry, in this class. There is something on the slide I want to point out, because what is the color of the year? I have already seen probably 10 posts this week about what this year's color of the year is, and I don't know the name of it, but it's a dark grayish brown. And there's so many pictures popping up on rooms painted in that color. It's very, very stunning color. Those are the things that we're talking about. So what to post? What else can you post? Absolutely be yourself. Show people who you are. You know, if you are if you're into dogs, or you're into gardening, those are really good things to show about yourself. I'll give you another true life example. We have an agent in our office who's very involved in dog rescue. She's involved with local organizations, and it's something that's very important to her. So her marketing includes that. She posts things online about it. It's on her website. It's actually in a lot of her marketing pieces. She runs ads in our local paper, and it always has that cause next to it. So people who are very much in tune to that want to associate with her because that's who she is. But also just be fun and engaging and relevant and current in what's happening today. You know, talk about your community, local events going on, highlight a small business. So many people during the pandemic have been supporting their local businesses by posting, you know, a business of the day on their Howard Hanna Facebook page. I've seen at least 10 of those this week already. And we do that a lot here in the Hudson office. We're constantly supporting and promoting our local businesses during this time, and we'll continue to do it after the pandemic because now people love it and they're expecting it. So that's such a great way to be a hero and also get your name out there. Again, find and share valuable articles, not necessarily on real estate per se. It could be on, you know, 5 ways to get your yard ready for spring. You know, anything that might be interesting to somebody. You can also do a raffle or a giveaway of some kind. I've seen a lot of agents do contests. And why would you do a contest on Instagram? Well, I have a good friend who's in another office who does this about once a week, and she'll post 2 pictures on Instagram and she'll ask everyone which one they like better. Do you like this kitchen better or this kitchen better? It has nothing to do with her, any of her listings or even her market. The reason she does it is because people answer her, and she gets a lot of likes and hits, and really is able to engage with people by just offering up a silly little picture contest like that. So another thing that's super important about building your base and making yourself valuable to your clients or even people who aren't your clients is establishing yourself as a resource. So your value proposition as an agent is not just that you are an expert in real estate and you are now an expert in your market, but you also know everybody. You know who all the good real estate attorneys are in your area, and the inspectors, whether it's a general home inspector or pest or mold or radon. People are going to want to know who to call. If you're on a listing appointment, they may ask you, well, we need to get our house painted. Do you have a good painter? Or we know we have some electrical work that we need to be done. You want to be the go-to person for people. I will throw a little caveat out there to you to not give this list out to just anybody, because this list has so much value and it can take years to build this list. I was on a listing appointment with one of my agents last month, and sure enough, the seller did ask her, you know, gosh, we're going to need to paint our kitchen and we have some plumbing work that needs to be done. Can you give me names of people? And my agent said, absolutely, I'll send you over my list. And I was kind of cringing at the kitchen table that she gave away such valuable information. I probably wouldn't do that until I got the listing signed, because that's part of what you're getting when you hire me, is you also get my huge resource list. I also don't want you to freak out that you have to go and do this week. This does take, you know, months and years to build, but everyone in your office knows who these people are. We do keep a list in the Hudson office of all the local inspectors and some of these other experts. Ask your manager or ask the other agents in your office if there is such a list in your office, and start building your own. So the next topic is referrals. How do referrals help build your business? Well, referrals are a way of getting business where you don't even know it exists today. You know, people like you and trust you and will refer business to you, but you know, maybe only when it falls in their lap. We kind of have to train people how to work with us, or just people in your life, train them what to say if somebody asks them anything about real estate. So I know that sounds awkward, but it really isn't. So, you know, we have 3 groups of referrals, you know, starting at the bottom with everyone that may do business or refer business to you. You know, that's in your C group. Your B group are people who really like you and will refer business to you, but only, again, when it falls into their lap. We want to develop that group into your ambassador group, which are your raving fans. These are people who think you're terrific. They think you're smart and they think you really know your stuff. And you want them to refer you if they are talking to somebody about real estate. So, you know, your husband's boss may be moving out of town and maybe selling his house. You want to train people to say, you need to call Kate Lesor. She's fantastic. She sold my house. She's great. So when you're sitting, when we can do this again, when the world opens up and you're at a party or you're out to lunch with a bunch of people, you want them to know that you really know what you're talking about. And you don't come out and say, you guys need to refer me to everyone that you know. You don't have to say that. They're going to see that you're enthusiastic, you love what you do, and you're good at it, and you know your stuff. And that is how the referrals happen. So consistency is the key. Kate's going to show you, and Natalie, they're going to show you how to set up neighborhood news and listing announcements in Engage. So you are constantly top of mind with not only potential clients, but also for referrals. So getting back to our 3 groups, in that very top group, we recommend that you have personal touches with them on a consistent basis, not about real estate. It's just they're hearing from you, you're calling them to say hello. Hey, how are your kids doing? Are they back in school? Or are they still doing school remotely? You know, anything about their life, you should be keeping in touch with them. And we also recommend that this is done no less than once a month. In your B group, which are your buddy groups, you know, phone touches with them, not about real estate. Again, I'll give you another perfect example. I have a half an hour drive to work, and I make sure that certainly within that half an hour, I can call 1, 2, or maybe even 3 people. I'm in the car anyway. And this is not to be a direct question to anyone. I'm just calling and keeping in touch with people. On my way in this morning, I called a friend of mine who I really haven't talked to since, I want to say before the holidays. I call it pandemic time. I think it's last week, but I think it's been like 5 months since I talked to her, and I felt terrible about it. So I called her this morning just to say hello. My gosh, how are you doing? Are you still working remotely? Are you back at your office? You know, we talked for just a few minutes, and then she, you know, sprang it on me that her daughter just got engaged over Valentine's Day, and she was so excited. So her daughter and her fiance are going to be looking for a house. And she said, I was thinking about you because, you know, Christina is going to be looking for a house. Well, I don't know if she really would have called me. She may have called the last person she got a postcard from. That's what we're talking about here, to just remain consistent with your communication. So when that phone call does happen, or that life change does happen, that you will be the first real estate agent that these people think of. So we want to, you know, develop them to be in the A group. Again, with this B, with our buddy group, no less than once a quarter. So I hadn't talked to this person in 4 months. So got my quarter phone call out of the way with her this morning. And then the last group, also no less than once a month. These are email touches. So you're not picking up the phone or calling them directly. Maybe it's a group that you're not as close or comfortable with, but you can certainly send them an email. So at least they know not only that you're still around, but you're still active in real estate. We also say this kind of funny thing, don't be a secret agent. And I know some people look at this and say, what do you mean by this? Well, I will tell you, when I was a new agent, I kind of felt this way. I thought, oh my gosh, I'm not comfortable putting myself out there so much. It's not in my comfort zone. And I will say that about being in real estate, I've had to go outside of my comfort zone just about every single day that I've been in it. And you can do it in very subtle ways. You do not have to be in people's faces. I mean, that's obnoxious. Nobody wants someone approaching them all the time. You know, hey, do you have a house to sell? That's not what we're talking about. But you should always have something on you that identifies you as being an agent with Howard Hanna. So obviously your PIN is the easiest way, or your name badge that you all have. But you know, go on the Bob Shop. It is the best resource for getting logo wear, or a cell phone case, or, you know, a coffee mug. So wherever you are, you have something on you that says, I'm in real estate and I work for Howard Hanna. So you don't have to come out and say it. Again, when I was in Panera yesterday, I had on my Howard Hanna mask, and Howard Hanna was right on my face. They couldn't avoid the fact that I'm in real estate, and you know, they had questions for me. So order something, a baseball cap if you go walking every day, or if you go work out in a gym, have a Howard Hanna t-shirt on. It's the easiest way that you can tell people that you are in real estate, because everybody wants to talk about real estate. Everybody's interested in it, and they will have questions for you, and it'll be a conversation starter. And a goal that you can set for yourself is to qualify for a Hannamobile, because it's all of this on steroids. You're driving around in a billboard, basically. So people stop me in mine all the time. Another suggestion are pop-bys. These are cute. You want to keep them cost effective. It's kind of nice to give somebody a three-dimensional thing. So again, to not make it too expensive, maybe you save this for a Target farm area that you're working with, or give these out at your open houses. A cute one is a bag of popcorn with a popping by to say hello. You staple your business card to it. I have agents in my office who buy, you know, the really small poinsettias around the holidays, and they deliver them to their, you know, key neighborhoods. Just something that could catch someone's attention other than a postcard or an e-card or an email. The way to build your database and build your sphere of influence is by doing a variety of communication over many different platforms, whether it's in person, 3-dimensional, 2-dimensional, digitally, have it a nice combination. Here's a list of just a ton of ideas on Pinterest, on Fit Small Business. You go online, there's a lot of resources for coming up with Popeyes by the month. And then in your ebook, there's a great page in there called Growing Your Sphere. The example of it is here. It's everything we've talked about today. So just to sum everything up, start off by writing your wedding list of, well, it says 250 on here. We've talked about 150. In my opinion, make it as long as you can. I started out with 300 names as a new agent. And you would not believe how quickly you can grow that list by everything we've talked about this morning. Add 10 not mets to your list. Any real estate vendors that you know, constantly add names to your list. So again, we're going to teach you how to put that list into Engage today, but we're also going to show you how to keep adding to it so your list grows. Send a handwritten note to 2 people a day in your sphere. Call 2 people a day from your sphere to follow up using the Ford family, occupation, recreation, and dreams to see what's changing in their life that could potentially cause them to buy or sell a house. Preview 2 homes a day virtually, and then fill in your listing fact sheet so you can keep track of it. Use Hannah presentations to do a CMA so you are very familiar and can do one quickly. And post something on Facebook on either your business page or your personal page. And I do want to say one other thing about social media. This is probably the only industry I can think of where your professional life and your business life overlap. And people do ask me all the time, should I do a business page or should I post on my personal page? My answer is both, because your friends on your personal page may not know you're in real estate. You may not want to post as much business information on that one as you do on your business page, but you need to also let them know and keep them in the loop that you are still very active in real estate. So I would do it on both as well as on Instagram. And the only other thing I didn't talk about today that is really important is if you are not doing opportunity time in your office, and I don't know in the different markets, since we're all over today, how many days a week your office is open. But in our office, we're open 7 days a week, and our opportunity time is 7 days a week from the time we open our doors until we close. And you may hear some negative things about it from agents in your office, that it's a waste of time. But I am here to tell you, you will absolutely get business on opportunity time. And as a new agent, I would even take people's shifts. If they send an email to your office looking for someone to take or trade, take it. You should be in the office working anyway. While you're on opportunity time, you could be watching a Hannah U class. You could be writing your 10 notes that day. You could be going into the MLS and on Real Scout and looking at every single house in your market. There, trust me, you can fill up that time. So I highly recommend that you do that. Also, you should be choosing some neighborhoods to farm, whether it's your own neighborhood, which we highly recommend you at a minimum do your own neighborhood, and then maybe pick 1 or 2 more in your market. So the consistent communication from you is narrowed down to a smaller group, so you're not spreading your resources too thin. Send a letter to out-of-town landlords possibly who are renting. You never know, they may want to buy right now. We didn't talk about door hangers today, but that's another great way to get your name out there in a neighborhood. Some neighborhoods don't allow them, so check into that and make sure if you are putting door hangers up, you are doing it in a neighborhood where they do allow them. The best advice I have for you is to just make sure you wear your name tag or your Howard Hanna pin everywhere you go. It doesn't really matter where you are. My husband makes fun of me for always having my Howard Hanna pin on, even if I'm not working, but maybe I came from work and we meet some friends for dinner. I still have it on. He'll lean over and whisper, at me, you know, you can take your pin off now. But I don't take it off because the server in the restaurant doesn't know I'm a real estate agent, and I want them to know that I am. If I go to a board meeting, I want my fellow board members to know and remember that I work for Howard Hanna, and I don't have to say it because I have my pin on. So best advice is to talk about real estate everywhere you go. You will be adding names to your database just by meeting people when you go out and talk to people. Sometimes if you feel like you are lost and you have nothing to do and you don't know what to do next, my best advice for the day, and then I'm going to turn it over to Kate and Natalie, is to get out from behind your computer, close it up, go outside, and leave your office, leave your house, wherever you're working that day, and go into a place of business, your dry cleaners, your area florist, your local grocery store, and just start engaging in conversation with people. That is how you build your business, by talking to people, letting them see how great you are, how excited you are about being in real estate, how much you love it. Enthusiasm can trump your experience just by showing everyone that you love what you do. And this is your activity before our next class. It is in your ebook. It's pretty much everything I just went over. So good luck, guys. And I know you'll do great. Are any questions for me before we turn it over to Kate and Natalie?
Janice, one question that came up early on, and I thought maybe you would like to give your advice for those people who are new to an area and they feel like they really don't have a sphere. Do you have any words of wisdom on where they should start, some things they should do?
Yeah, absolutely. I touched on that in the class a little bit. Yes, getting involved with your community is the biggest thing you can do. So again, we're not telling you to go out and volunteer for 500 groups, just one or two of them, whether it's your homeowners association, your local Rotary Club, your Chamber of Commerce, get to know the people who are running your city. You could be a great resource for them, and you never know, they could start referring business to you. But that's a great way to start. And everything that we were just talking about, get out there and start talking to people. I mean, I have so many, I could talk another hour about how many stories I have as an agent and a manager by just stopping in places. I'll give you another example. On Saturday, I hadn't been to the dry cleaners in a long time because no one's wearing anything but sweats anymore. But I went to my neighborhood dry cleaner to drop something off last week, and she's like, "Oh my God, how are you? And where have you been?" And it was a Saturday, and I always work out on Saturdays because I'm in the office all week, and I had my Howard Hanna baseball cap on, and of course she asked, "How's the market?" I mean, it was her second question. Her first question was, "What are you dropping off today?" But her second question was, "How's the market?" That is how you build your database, by being out there in your community. I will also tell you though, the way that we've been doing it during the pandemic is really supporting our local businesses, because they were just dying on the vine during the pandemic. And we have gotten a lot of business that way by having all of the area businesses know who we are. We've invited them onto our Tuesday meetings, and we've had, Howard Hanna Day at their store that day, and all my agents go in. And so they know all of our agents now. So if your office isn't doing something like that, talk to your manager or just do it yourself.
Thank you, Janice. I know you went over it, but it bared repeating because it's so vital, and some people don't always get the message the first time around. So thank you, Janice. Any other questions for Janice?
I had a quick question regarding the A and B contacts. I get the whole referral concept, but she said not to talk real estate, yet train them to refer to you. And I just wonder if she could kind of quickly touch on that again.
So I think we just don't want to come off like
Salesy.
being an aggressive real estate agent that's always, in your face.
I sell
What can
real
you do for
estate.
me? Right, right.
I mean, I know when I first got licensed, I was so worried that I would become that person. And it actually kept me from getting my license for a couple of years because I didn't, my own professional integrity and reputation in my city from my previous business. I didn't want people to think I was an aggressive salesperson, but guess what? We are in sales. That is what we do, but there is a more subtle way of getting that message out there to people without talking about real estate all the time. Honestly, if they, if someone, why don't you, here's a great opener. You could ask somebody where they live. I do this all the time. I did this in Nordstrom last month when I was buying a new pair of shoes. I asked the salesperson where he lived. I mean, we were talking. You're not going to just be sitting there in silence when you're face to face with somebody. So, you strike up a conversation. And I always ask people where they live, and they tell me what street. And I'm like, oh my God, I love that neighborhood. I grew up in that neighborhood, or I sold a house on that street. There's always a way to turn the conversation more subtly over to real estate without pouncing on the person with it. So I think with that group of people that we want to move up to the A group, we may, our touches with them are much more subtle. If that
Okay.
makes sense.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question.
Sure.
So when you said, how to make them refer your business to other clients, how do you do that? Like, how do you, if it's your friend, I'm not a real estate agent, but how do you train them to refer you?
So I think there's so much information out there about what we do and how our business works. It's amazing to me. And it was shocking to me when I was licensed. My dad was actually an agent as a second career, as this is for me. And I had no idea what he did until I got my license. And I think our friends, and even my husband doesn't know exactly what I do all day long and every day because we don't tell them. So I think how many times, and this has happened to all of us, how many times did you go somewhere or you heard through the grapevine that a friend of yours listed their house with somebody else? They didn't pick you. It's always shocking, and it actually hurts. It's almost a jab to you. And I go back and I think, well, maybe I didn't do a good enough job letting them know that if they knew of someone that was going to be selling their house or buying one, that, call me first, call Janice McCormick. She's the expert in the area and she's a good friend of mine and she's great. You want people to know that about you. So I made it a habit of making sure that people in my A group knew how successful I was. So if I was doing an open house or listing a house, or I sold one, I made sure my just listed cards and my just sold cards and my open house announcements also went to my sphere, so they could say, oh my gosh, you're so busy. I see your name everywhere. They're not going to refer you if you're not, if you're not active in the business. So it's a subtle way of reminding your sphere that not only are you in real estate, but you're a really successful real estate agent, because obviously they're getting all this information about how many houses you've sold and how many open houses you're doing. They'll know to train, to train them to give your name out. And we also have to tell people that, we don't get paid unless we sell a house or list a house and sell it. That, people seem to think that we're on a salary, or Howard Hanna gives us mileage, or, people just think so many strange things about our business. So sometimes it's important to just come out and tell people we're really close to how our business works. It's also important to tell your friends and family that who live out of town for outgoing referrals. You can make a lot of extra money a year on just finding agents for people in other cities too. So make sure that's part of your business plan as well.
Janice?
hope you answered.
Can
Yes.
may I share? I'm joining a team at the Howard Hanna Monroe Pittsford office, or Pittsford Monroe office, and Dawn Nowak's the team that I'm on. And Dawn has a way of she created a referral program, and that's a great way she uses it with her friends and family, as well as past customers, that you refer me. And once the deal closes, either they buy or sell, you'll get a $100 Amazon card. And you'd be surprised the number of people, my brother, my cousin, my aunt, my uncle, they just, her phone rings off the hook with people that want that $100 card. And when you think about your overall commission, that $100 is bringing you somebody else that's going to refer you. And it's like a spider web, it just grows. I think that's a great idea, and it's a classic case in point of I'm referring you out to people, please refer back to me. I mean, think of all the people that you hire to help you personally in your house, the guy who comes and cleans your furnace, if you need a plumber to come out, I mean, you're hiring them and giving them money. Tell them hand them your cards, exchange cards with people. I do it all the time. Give me a stack of your cards, I'll give you a stack of mine. You keep them at your place of business. That dry cleaner that I stopped into last Saturday, she has a stack of my cards on the counter there. So that's a great way to do it.
So you mentioned when you were talking about being at Panera the other day with your mask on, I'm sure you had cards and gave them out, right? You'd be surprised, maybe not, the number of people I've been at conferences with or other networking events that don't bring a business card. Always carry your business cards.
Always.
You never know who you're going to meet.
That's right. And you don't know what position that person might be in, not only to list a house or buy one, but maybe they know someone and they liked you so much, you were so nice to them. Plus you get better service when you talk to people and engage in conversation. You want everyone to know who you are and how great you are. And this is so easy. That's why I said this is something you can start today. You don't need to learn anything to start this practice today. Any other questions? Okay.
Thank you, Janice.
You're welcome. Good luck, everyone. I'm going to stay on a little and watch you start putting all your lists into Engage. So we're turning it over to Natalie and Kate.
I think everyone could probably use a break. Raise your hand if that's a yes. All right, come on back at 12:15.
I'm good, thank you.
All right, so we're going to go over Engage. I'm going to get into this and Kate's going to pop in when she has something to add. But basically Engage is one of the tools, the platform that Howard Hanna gives you guys to get started, and it's off of your Go Hanna dashboard. So how many of you are on this dashboard, have looked at it yet, have been able to get in? How many are still waiting? Some. Okay. So this dashboard's really helpful when you're super bored. Just come in here and look around in it because there's just so much stuff in here. And our goal is to just one by one show you what's available, and then we can help you target in and take it in the bite-sized pieces. I saw the eating the elephant analogy where, just one bite at a time. Take it slow, write stuff down you want to remember later, but you're not going to be an expert tomorrow, and that's okay. So I am using Google Chrome right here. That is my preferred browser that I think works the best with a lot of our tools, has the least amount of glitches. So definitely get familiar with that if that's what you use on your device. You can download it even on Macs and stuff. So Engage CRM Resource Center is right here. So before we actually go into Engage, I just want to show you, if you click on this, that there's a lot of tutorials, there's a lot of videos, step-by-step, really great information right here. Also their support center. right up here, I would email them and not call. And so just be aware that this is right here. We usually always have help guides, tutorials for all of our tools. And then off the dashboard, we can get into Engage by either going under tools. There, it's in the E section. It is alphabetical order, or right up here at the top, Engage CRM. So I'm going to dive into this, and I have to switch over because I get a manager view. The managers cannot actually see your exact Engage CRM with all of your contacts. They just see, you know, numbers. They're not seeing names or contacts, so don't worry about that. We're just gonna let this load up. It has gotten a few new facelifts lately, so you guys are really seeing the shiny, brand new version of this. And you're going to see this, where it's a nice good afternoon. And so right here on the dashboard, there's a couple different categories right here just to look at. You can rearrange them how you want them to be, what would be most helpful for you by just grabbing them and moving them up and down. But this is really just something because we encourage people get into Engage every day, really to do that prospecting, to build your sphere, to add people in, to reach out to people. But right here, we can see the sales flow, which we're going to talk about a little bit later, but you can move transactions through this from a marketing plan to when someone becomes a prospect and you really think that they're going to buy or sell, and then when they're actively buying and selling with you, and then of course under contract. But you can see this at a glance. You can see your calendar at a glance with your to-do list for that day. You can see an activity feed that I have, what's going on with my neighborhood news, which this is all we're going to go into a little bit deeper. But it's really important just to know your dashboard, to set it up how you like so that you actually want to get in there every day. Like having a calendar here.
So I just want everyone to know, because I did see a lot of comments that people don't have access yet. So I just want kind of just backtrack a minute here. So everyone, you're seeing, obviously Natalie's been with the company for a while, so she has stuff that's populating. When you first log in, if you haven't added contacts or things to your calendar, they're obviously not going to populate. I just want you to know that this is syncing to your Outlook account, your Howard Hanna email. So Natalie's calendar on her email, that's what she's seeing. The contacts that are coming in, they're actually coming from a lot of different places, but they're syncing with your contacts in your mail. So if you're going in for the first time and you're like, why don't I see anything? That would most likely be why. So I just wanted, sorry, Natalie, I just wanted them to know, because they're probably not going to see any of this or know where it's coming from. Just wanted to share that.
Yep. And then as we go down, goals completion, we're going to get into this as well. There's a place where you can set your goal for the year. And then rather than like a New Year's resolution where you set it up, you know, January 1st, and then you forget about it by February, this is a constant reminder to you every time you come in here. This is my goal. This is like how close I am to reaching it, which just is really helpful for staying motivated throughout the year and not panicking in November when you're like, I didn't get close to my goal and now I have like 1 month to get there. But you guys are all going to crush your goals, so we don't have to worry about that. Stay in the flow. This is the helping you reach out to 5 people. So one of the main reasons of Engage is not to let people fall through the cracks. As we talked about, you know, the people that know you already are the ones that, you know, you want to use you again, to refer you and all of that. And one of the main reasons for Engage is to help you stay in front of everyone's face as a realtor, as a real estate agent, and just remind them of what you do and why you do it. And so this is just a helpful thing where, you know, helps you, reminds you to reach out to 5 people a day, and even we'll let you write notes about it, but we'll talk about that when we actually get into someone's profile. You also can do a to-do list, a task list right here. You see transaction tasks. That is something we'll get in further on, but you could even put your own tasks in here that you want to see get done. And then of course, if you have your listings, they're going to show up here. And this has to do with those listing announcements that Janice was talking about earlier. So this is just your dashboard, helping you, like, just encourage you to want to get in here every day, to check off stuff off your to-do list, to make sure you're reaching out to those people. and just seeing what your calendar is. So really, there's a lot of different ways to use Engage. A lot of times I say, let's focus on one way first, the way that would most help your business where you are at the current moment. And then once you're comfortable doing that, once you like doing that, we can expand. And so of course, for Engage, we need to get people in here. So we're gonna go under the People tab and My People. There are a few different ways for people to get into Engage. And that is, one, you can add them in here individually, which is great, and I'm gonna go over that. Two, you can get an Excel sheet and download it in here, or it also feeds from your Outlook contacts. So you could download that list to, your Outlook contacts, or right into Engage. For your Howard Hanna email contacts, it is important to note that just because an email auto-populates for you does not necessarily mean that they're a contact. So you want to make sure that you're right-clicking and that you're saying add to contacts if this is someone that you want to make sure gets into your database. And then leads will also feed in from other tools, Open to Close, Real Scout. We haven't gotten into those yet, but this is kind of the final resting place in the Howard Hanna world for all of your contacts. All the contacts will feed into here from other places and sources. And so this is why we really want to make sure in the beginning that the people that you have in here are the people that you want in here, and to clean this up. So adding someone in individually, we can just click this button right here, and I'm going to just walk you through the different information that you can put people in. So first name, last name, labeled name, if you want. And then we have phone numbers. You can add multiple phone numbers. You can add multiple email addresses. So what comes up with this a lot is for couples, if you want to put them in together or individually, we recommend it's kind of good to put people in individually. Most people have their own emails. And you never know what's going to happen, but it's just, they'll want to get the email separately in their own box. And so having them just as separate clients, you can connect them to a sale in here. But we do say it's probably easier to put people in here individually. Addresses. And then right here, you can add spouse or partner. So you put one person in, and then you can connect them to the other if you want. You can also show referred by or whatnot here. And again, this is showing you there is so much add personal field if you want to do their job title, company. There's so much information you can put in here for a person, but remember, this is your database. So you can put in as much information about people as you want, or as little information about people as you want, and set it up really the way you want. So do not get overwhelmed by all these fields and think that they all need to be filled out. They do not. The fields that are important to you are the ones that need to. I would just say at the bare minimum, make sure you're putting in first name, last name, and email address, because that's when we go over campaigns, a lot of the emails get triggered. Of course, address is important to our business to know where they're at. And then even one thing down here, dates, you can add their house anniversary date in here. And so that's kind of really helpful as you are selling people houses, or either side of the transaction, to put that date in, so you can just send them that handwritten note that Janice was talking about earlier every year, just to say, wow, a whole year has gone by. And so that's at least right here. You can put in collaborators or personal if you want. Some people want literally every person they've ever known, including like their spouse and their family members in this database. Some people just want their sphere of influence that we've been talking about. And so that's why this button is here.
Natalie, just want to give a piece of advice, and there's a ton of questions that I'm assuming, Wendy, we should wait till the end to answer all of those, or should we do them? Okay. So I just want everyone to know, as a new agent, you guys are so ahead of the game when it comes to organizing your contacts and some of these other agents. And what I would recommend, Natalie, forgive me if you've already said this, As soon as you have a new contact come to your email, the easiest way at that point is to right click on their name and put add to contacts. Did you say that, Natalie?
I mean, I didn't say it quite like that. So
So like, right, I would just tell, and this is like mindless work. You could do this while like the bachelor's on or whatever, right? You can just click on your computer from that, whoever sends you a message, just click add to contacts. And then once they're in here, you can organize it. It's just the easiest way to do that right now if you're just starting. If you don't have your database all cleaned up and put in an Excel file. Just wanted to give that piece of advice.
Yep. So that's a really important thing to get. And then also, if you want to mass upload people into Engage, we definitely recommend putting people in here 5, to 10 at a time, whatever you're comfortable with. But if you individually put someone in here, one, you can start reaching out to all of them, especially for all of you guys to let them know that you're in this business now and to catch up. We've definitely been saying a lot this year with COVID. People have loved the human touch that they've been getting, just to check in on them, see how they're doing, see how this last year has gone for them. But doing that is already, you're getting a touch on all of your sphere of influence. As you're putting them in, you're getting updated information from them, and you're excited, and you could be telling them about something that could interest them, like neighborhood news or one of our other platforms that you think would be helpful for them. But if you do just want to mass upload people into here, we come up here and it says import Outlook CSV. This is where you can just select that file if you have it already. Kate said that they are sending you guys the simplified version, but under Help Center, just if you lost it or you can't find it, there's always the super complicated version right here from Moxie with every possible field you could imagine. Again, you only have to fill out the fields that you want to put in there, and you can ignore all the other fields. But this is how you can get that right here. Also, please note, when I go up to this gear, there are some blue instead of the green. These blue options change depending on what tab you're under. If I'm on the goals tab, it's not going to give me this option to import the Outlook CSV. So make sure you're under the My People tab. And if you're like, where in the world is this? I know it was the gear. You have to be in the People tab and this will show up. So now I'm just going to look over the profile of someone real quick. We'll go into one of the many me's that are in the system. And just to kind of see what a profile of a person in here looks like. So we got them in there. And there's a couple different things. Right off the bat, we can add a transaction. And so there is a part of Engage where you can basically walk someone through from marketing to a prospect to active and to pending. And so the different fields in there, marketing is someone that you just want to stay in front of, to be reaching out to occasionally. They're not looking to buy or sell like in the near future. A prospect would be someone you move them into the prospect stage when they've started talking maybe about buying or selling. And then of course you move them to the active stage when you've got some signed documents or you're starting, to search. And then pending would be when you are under contract. Right now under profiles, at any point in time, I can come in here and edit the profiles and add things that I missed before. So if I added them in and I didn't have their email in, I can come in here and do that. Under notes, and it says this is synced with the email account. So I know we had some things about writing notes with people and how important this is. This is a block set of notes. So this is more so generalized notes. If you're going to write notes about someone, you ran into them at the grocery store and you talked about, maybe their son or daughter was getting married. You really want to put that in an activity. Again, I have a lot of activities right now because it's showing their neighborhood news. But I can create this custom activity. I have phone call, I left them a voicemail, we sent texts or social media, whatever, however you touched like this person, you engage with this person, you can put that in here and then write a little note about it, and it's going to save it on a timeline. So the next time you go to reach out to this person, you can check right here and see, okay, the last time we talked, their son was getting married. I want to ask about that when I, talk to them again. Is that making sense for everyone? Do we have any questions that need to be addressed right now, or are we good?
I think we're good.
Okay. Down here, if I do have someone in a transaction, this is where you're going to see that. And so I always say when you're adding a transaction, if I were to do this, make sure the transaction name is pretty specific. You want to say what side it is, and you want to maybe say the property name in case, if it's a buyer, in case it falls through, especially with this crazy market and all the multi-offers. But you want to make sure that this is all in. And so you would, do like 123 Street, buy side, especially since hopefully you could be on the selling and buying side of some of these transactions. But I can link this directly to the MLS number right here. And this is where if it's a non-MLS, I could put it in. But this is all the side of Engage where it tracks your goals and your transactions in here. If I just do this real quick, just to show you the importance down here, and then I know the different sides. So if I was a seller side on this or not, this deal obviously fell through. But you can see, this is something that you can see in someone's profile. You can see the different transactions that you have them under. And then if we continue to go down, we have the subscriptions. So I think you guys have been hearing a lot about neighborhood news. Right here, this is where you can add a subscription to neighborhood news right here. And basically what neighborhood news is, I would definitely recommend you all put yourselves in as a client and Engage and play around with it. Play around with your profile, adding stuff, and also play around with the subscription. Sign yourself up for neighborhood news. It is a once a month email that goes out. Basically, you can do it by zip form, or you can do it by a specific area. You can map it out if, say, the zip form is way too large and they really only want to know about their section of it. The easiest way is to kind of just set them up by zip code, if that works. And then once a month, they're getting a very professional email from you saying, this is what happened in your neighborhood this month. And it gives them a bunch of data. It gives them a mortgage calculator. It shows them the different listings that were there. And you can view a sample right here too. But setting yourself up for this is super helpful. And this is something that all of our agents and clients have loved. And if you sign them up for a zip code, they can even move it to a different zip code that they want. But right here, you can kind of just see, this is just a sample. And it also will show them some trends of the market. And this is also where you can do your listing announcements, which is something that we talked about earlier as well. For when you have listings, you can get people set up on this subscription for when you push it out.
I have a quick question, if that's okay. If we have their zip code already auto-populated, will it map to that area for neighborhood news?
So you can, so I'm going through the profile and individually adding people to neighborhood news. When we are under my people, which we can go right
Natalie,
back.
it will still populate this way too.
Okay, it will.
Yeah, so like if anyone has a zip code in there, no matter like you, the only thing that you'll notice, the way that Natalie's about to show you, it will auto populate. It will not be able, you cannot click subscribe and continue when everyone is selected unless everyone has a zip code. So a lot of times people will put in a zip code for everyone and it will actually override the zip code that's in there. But if you're doing it one by one, it will pull that zip code.
And James, when you're on my people, you select a client and then on the left side, it gives you that menu of what I was going through. And so I clicked next to subscription, I just clicked add and it gave me that way to individually do it.
That's awesome. It auto-populates by zip code. That's perfect. All right, thank you.
Yep. And so there are ways, to individually add people as you're individually putting them in is the best route. If you have a ton of people in there and you want to get them all up on neighborhood news, we can mass subscribe as well. But right now I want to talk about groups before diving into campaigns. And so I'll just right here, I can just select all. I can even filter if I want. And then if I do add to, I can then choose to do neighborhood news or again, listing announcements or groups with that. Some of the filters on here that I think are really helpful, especially when you guys are starting out, are the action needed. So it's going to let you know how many new people are in here, how many are missing a phone number, an email address, a home address, or even a name. And so this is really helpful when you're in here, you're really wanting to clean up your database, make sure it's all ready to go, is to check this out. But you also can filter by your sales flow and then groups, campaigns, and lead sources. So your groups is something to think about when you're coming in, because a lot of that is going to deal with campaigns, which we're going to go into next. And campaigns are just really great because this is a new feature of Engage where there's a lot of auto emails that can go out for you guys. Just again, helpful information and reaching out to your clients and letting them know, who you are, what you do, remind them of that so that, the next time they're having a conversation with someone and that person casually mentions maybe buying or selling a house, they're like, I have the best agent, you should talk to them. So you're putting people in here. Again, I'm going over all of what Engage is capable of. You guys want to take this in like the first couple steps, which I would say is putting your people in here, making sure their contact information is up to date and setting them up on neighborhood news. You do that, you're looking great. And then we can talk about what next steps you want to do in here. Talking about groups, edit groups right under the My People page. This is where you can see the different groups that you have. You can even see that some of my Outlook email groups have pulled over. And I could just get rid of that if I wanted by clicking it and deleting it. But up here, I can also create a group if I wanted to. So I could have a My COI group if I wanted, or my geographical farm group if I wanted, which again is all stuff we'll talk about a little bit later on. But think about what groups you would want. And then when you start bringing people in, you can start grouping them. And so one of the big reasons of grouping people is campaigns. So we're actually going to dive into that next, and we're going to ignore goals and transactions for now. We still doing good? Anything? Okay. So campaigns, again, you're going to have nothing in here right now, but this is also a way for neighborhood news where you can kind of check on how many people, what the open rate is, what the unsubscribe rate is. I unsubscribed from myself right here, and you can kind of see the activity feed for that. But while you're thinking about what groups you want, it's kind of helpful to see what campaigns are out there. And there's a couple that I just want to highlight because they basically, you connect people to these and you really don't have to touch them. So once this loads, so we have a lot of different ones right here, but I want to go down and look at some of these. So we have a bunch of different Hannah holiday campaigns, and this is basically, I can preview any of them to see the ones I like. No kids just means no, Father's and Mother's Day, but I can like look through this just to see the images and if I like them, and then I could add this to my campaign, and I could just, if I have my COI group, I could just connect this to my COI group, and then they're all just going to get these nice holiday email cards from me every single holiday. And I'll walk through doing one of those, but I want to highlight a couple of the other campaigns just so you see what's out there. So we have this one, Trending at Home is an e-newsletter that goes out once a month from Howard Hanna with just some helpful articles about real estate. So this is also something that you could set people up. It is different from neighborhood news. Neighborhood news is specifically, this is what's going on in your neighborhood. Trending at home is just like, here are some real estate updates, tips about taking care of your home, home-related articles. We also have a seasonal home maintenance. This one is probably one of my favorites. It just goes out 4 times a year and it's before each season. And it basically just lets the homeowner know, here's some things that you should be doing outside your home. These are some things you should be doing inside your home. Oops. To prep for that. And so these are all types of emails that basically you connect a person to these and you don't have to worry about it again. These emails are just going to go out with helpful information for you. And so that is why these are all great. As Wendy said, these are all also free. This is one of the big reasons we do push for a lot of email marketing, is just because it's free for you to just send out all these emails. And email is just something people are getting a lot more comfortable sharing and, you know, reading through helpful articles. I just want to preview the seasonal home maintenance right here. But just down here it says outside, you know, inside. Make sure you're, you know, doing these things before, you know, the fall. And so I would just say, oh, I love this campaign. I want to put my entire COI on it. So I'm going to add to campaigns right here. And it's going to let me know that it came in. And it's going to be under awaiting setup. Right here. And so I'm going to then click edit. And once that loads up, all we're going to do is we're going to connect this to my COI group. And then in the future, every single person I add to my COI group is going to be put on this list to send out the next time there is something to send out. So right here, I'm just going to keep walking through. It's thinking. Sometimes this is one aspect of the platform that can take a little bit longer to load, so just be patient.
I'm just going to say something really quick while Natalie's waiting for this. So the other reason why it's taking a while, and I understand a lot of people, you know, that this is a lot. So let me just preface by saying Natalie's showing you what the tool can do. You know, we don't think that you're able to follow along this entire time and doing this with her, that there's a ton of training outside of this class that she's reviewing things. But the reason why you need to add that campaign, because someone said their screen looked very different, Natalie. Basically, every time Natalie clicks add campaign to library, it's downloading that to her campaigns. So you're basically, think of the campaign library as like you're going to the grocery store and you're picking out the ones that you like, and then when you get it, it goes to your campaigns. So until you click on add campaign to your library, you're not able to do anything that she's doing. You can't just click on it and edit from there. You have to click add campaign, and then it adds to your dashboard. So she doesn't have all of them on her dashboard. She had them in the library that she was picking. So to clarify that.
Yep, and so we can walk through that again. But basically, so once I've added it from the library, I've clicked edit, I'm just walking through. I want to come here and add people. It shows me my group, so I can just choose the COI group right here. And if I wanted to choose individual people, I could by going under this tab and searching for Kate, add her in, and then click next. And then it's going to show me I don't have anybody in my COI group, or else the entire list would show. But you'll see every single person that's going to be getting this right here that has that email. And then I could remove someone if I had wanted to. And then I'll click save up at the top. And again, as we said, we have so much training on this. This is just an overview, and definitely happy to help you once you say, okay, I put my people in, I set them up on neighborhood news. Now what do I do? Just shoot me an email, ask. I'd be happy to help. And then all you're going to click is run campaign. And that is the just couple steps of setting up these campaigns. And then every single person you add to your COI group is going to start getting these emails on this day. And so that's what's great about campaigns. You can then see what ones you have running under the running tab here. And again, I got them all from the library. And then if you do archive one, it's going to show up under archived. So that's just a couple of the campaigns that we have out there that go out by dates, you know, the holiday dates, the seasonal dates, the once a month dates. There are also a set of campaigns that we're not going to go into today, but they're called trigger campaigns. I'll just show you actually what one looks like. But basically, that gets triggered as you move someone along the transaction tasks, which is not something that I talked about yet, just because I think there are so many different aspects to engage, and really just focusing on the first couple steps first before going through all of them or using the tool in its entirety. Using all of the different features of Engage is a lot. So I'm pretty sure most people use 1 to 2 aspects to get started. And then once they're comfortable, they look at more. But basically down here, just like recently closed buyer, there's a couple of emails set up that just checks in on recently closed. And so once a deal closes in your transaction tasks, they would get put onto this email chain where it would say, hey, you know, leave me a review. Hey, it's been 6 months in your new home. How are you loving it? And different things like that. And so we can talk about trigger campaigns definitely at another time, but that's also really cool. New lead follow-up, just ways really to help you guys in your follow-up with people and checking in on people, because it's a lot and there's a lot of people, and any way we can help you with some things that are more automated, the easier we try to make your life. But again, in the beginning, it's a lot, and it's just like, this isn't easier. And that's why we say one thing at a time, focus on that until that gets easy, until that gets automatic. You know, when you get an email from a new client, you're automatically right-clicking, adding them to contacts, coming in here, adding them to neighborhood news. You know, when all that just starts becoming part of your checklist with any new lead, that's really when we can start going deeper on that.
Natalie.
Mm-hmm.
I was just gonna say, well, are you finished with campaigns? Is this your last bit, or did you want to show anything else?
We have 10 minutes left, and you said there was a lot of questions, so I figured we could kind of just see.
Perfect. I was gonna show one thing if it's possible as well. So
Yep.
I just wanted everyone to know there is a handout that I created that just says if there's 5 things you do in Engage, do this. And it kind of went through what Natalie said, add contacts, you know, set your goal. But I know there are some people that already have contacts in their Engage. And I'm going to just show you right now, if there's one thing that you want to do today, I'm going to tell you exactly what it is. And this is what you should do. So is it Dina? I know you're the one with the cleaned contacts. So you should watch this little segment because I'm giving you your to-do list right now. Okay.
Yay, thank you.
So, oh, that's not it. So don't look at my desktop. I thought that was going to be hidden. All right. So that's my current to-do list actually. So I just want to point out that you can actually subscribe everyone. So what Natalie was showing you all, you can subscribe everyone in your database right now. Even if you've got like 10 people, that's it. I don't care. You should just do this, get this out there. What I'm going to do, anything that Natalie, whenever we're teaching, when it comes to Engage, the things that you'll need to know, if it's not under the gear Engage settings, it's under people, my people. I think, right, Natalie, that's what we would agree. Those are probably the 2 things you're going to click the most. All right. So under people,
should you tell them that you're subscribing them to your database, or just send it unsolicited?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm going to get to that. I'm going to actually tell you what I think you should write. And then if that answers your questions, let me know. If not, we'll keep going. So what I would recommend is I would use Neighborhood News as the email to announce that either you've just started your real estate career or you've just joined Howard Hanna. You're going to notice when I click, again, I'm on people, my people. When I click select all, this is going to become highlighted, darkened, clickable, I guess. So I click select all, and then I'm gonna see add to, and you'll see neighborhood news. There's the quick, which is just your zip code, and then there's custom, which you can actually do a lot like an actual property search. We're not gonna do that right now. I'm gonna click on the quick, and I just wanted to point out, anyone that has a zip code, or excuse me, anyone that has a email would be in here, but they don't have a zip code. I just wanna get this out. I just wanna send it to my entire sphere. So you'll see enter the same zip code for everyone. I could just click my own zip code, and then I'm gonna tell you what, so you'll notice at this point I could hit subscribe and continue. The first time they get this, they're gonna get a message from you. All right, so I'm gonna show you, that's the main part of what you need to do. But right now, I was a high school teacher and I give homework assignments in every class. This is your homework assignment. You need to write your welcome to neighborhood news message. Under the gear, engage settings. You're gonna scroll all the way down. The black column here has your menu bar. You're gonna click on neighborhood news as soon as it lights up. I'm gonna click on neighborhood news. And then my default message. What I would recommend, and you got to make a note to go in and change it, but I'm going to click edit, and I'm going to put, I'm so excited to announce my new career with Howard Hanna. We've got a fun tool that shows you a market snapshot and a zip code. And then I put in my own zip code just so you could see an example of the report, but you could put any zip code in the United States. You want to know what the market's like in Florida? Click it. You know, if you have any questions about the market, please let me know. Again, really excited to announce my new career. Would love to touch base. Whatever you want to put, you change that. Now you're mentioning that you're sending this to them. You've told them that it's your zip code. They can change the zip code, and with one click, you've sent it to your entire sphere without having to know all of their individualized zip codes. All right. So if there's one thing you're going to do in Engage, you're going to go to the gear. This is my little notes part. This is also, I talk a little quick. So you got to wake up, you got to focus. All right. I'm going to click on the gear. I'm going to go to engage settings. I'm going to scroll down to the neighborhood news, and I'm going to edit my message, my default message. This will only go out to the mass subscriptions, not the individualized ones that Natalie was showing you. Those you can do very personalized. All right, I'm going to click edit. When I'm done, I'm going to click save. That's step one. Step two, I go to people, my people. People, my people. It's very biblical, right? It sounds like we're, here we go. People, my people. I'm going to click select all. I'm going to go add to neighborhood news quick. I'm going to put in my own zip code because I don't know all these people's zip codes. I'm just going to put in my own, but it doesn't matter because in my message, I told them I'm doing that. I'm going to hit subscribe and continue. And now my whopping list of 54 people. That's the only people that I have with emails in here. That's kind of pathetic. Have way more than that eventually. 54 people would get their neighborhood news, and they would be reminded every month on the 18th. It goes out once a month, March 18th, April 18th, May 18th, so on and so forth, that I'm in the real estate business and I want to help them. Even if it's not in Ohio, I want the relo business, or I want the referral relocation business for Florida, whatever it is. Very easy to do. And that's my spiel.
And so with that, just again, remember your admin will be able to help you with this too. If you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed, if you have your list in here and you come in and you're just like, hey, I'm supposed to put these people on neighborhood news, they can show you with a couple clicks how to do it, or they'll, call one of us and we'll walk you through with that. And so don't feel overwhelmed. The best way to learn this tool is put yourself in as a client and just play around with it and see what you're seeing as a client on like a personal Gmail account or something, and see what you see as an agent with that. And then my only thing that I want to make sure to tell you guys is when it asks you, or like with adding a transaction, I wouldn't do that yet because I didn't go over the different transaction tasks, but basically there's a checklist for marketing. There's a checklist for prospects, active, pending, that you want to edit before you start putting people on that. Because it's a very apprehensive or comprehensive list. So you want to make sure that it's just what you want to begin with before you put 100 people on that list. And then on day 2, you're getting 100 call this person. tasks to do. And that's why kind of putting people on those lists 5 by 5 is best. But we didn't go over that yet just because that's a lot. So get people in there, put them on neighborhood news. You have our support, you have your admin support. And that's a really good place to start.
I have a quick question. I was wondering, I signed myself up for it and was looking at the full report when you click on it, and I see it, you can change the zip code. If someone were to change their zip code, would that automatically update? Like, would their following neighborhood news be under that zip code? Okay.
Yes, and you would get a neighborhood news weekly report, and it would tell you who's unsubscribed, who's changed their email, and who's opened it. It's also in your campaigns analytics. So it would go automatically, but you would also be notified as well. So you could even reach out at that point and say, I saw you change your zip code. Are you looking to move? Or, use it as a point of contact.
Yep. Thanks.
There were some questions in the chat that didn't get answered because they often come at inopportune times or when the tech trainer has moved on to a different segment. So if you do have a question that wasn't answered or you have a question that you want to pose, please ask it now, unmute and ask it.
I see your comment, Lori. Yeah, I don't even know what I said. Honestly, I was just kind of chatting, but I will figure something out. I did notice 2 comments that I do want to talk about. The fear of Howard Hanna and your contacts. I just need everyone to understand that is nothing you need to be concerned about. If you ever left real estate and you wanted to sell your book of contacts to someone else in the business, or you wanted to, for whatever reason, you found a fit somewhere, maybe you move out of the area, Howard Hanna does not keep your contacts. We do not reach out to them. We never sell their information. MoxieWorks is the same. MoxieWorks is our tech provider. They will never take your client's information to a third-party site. Nothing will ever be sent to them without you okaying it or clicking on it. And if you ever left and you want to take your contacts, they're gone. Howard Hanna will not reach out to them. All right. So please understand that your contacts are your contacts and they will always be your contacts. Just even your manager will only, Natalie had said, only your manager sees the number of people you have in your database. And that's more as a coaching tool, not to take them. The other thing that someone had asked about the phone numbers. Your Engage, it does need an email. All right. Right now it is really an email platform. They are working on some texting apps and widgets that agents either might be able to purchase within the app, or we would have one at a larger, brokerage level. But at the moment, we do not have that. What I tell people right now, this is day one. You're probably overwhelmed. You don't want to sit in front of a computer anymore. Go through your phone and just text your friends. I'm cleaning up my database. Just got a new, starting my real estate career at Howard Hanna. Would love your email address, or updating my contacts. Would love your email address. If they don't want to give it to you, then we'll work on that at another class. But right now, we just want to try to get as much information, fill that in your contacts, and then you'll be able to reach out with them with neighborhood news. Wendy, we'll send out the 5 things you should do and Engage. I can send that to you to send out. Yeah, Summer, we'll send that out.
Okay, if you are not using the word overwhelmed right now, then you were not on all morning with us. So what you're feeling is normal. You're going to feel it probably for the next year, and that's okay. That means you're doing just enough. We're here for you. We will be sending out a follow-up email with all of the things you're looking for and asking for.
I don't probably can fit this sweater.
Don't worry about that. Sean, I'm muting you. If there are no other questions, we are done for today, and we will see you all again next Monday. You've got a lot to do between now and then.
Just a reminder for everybody, for those of you that have your Go Hanna dashboard, you're set up with Howard Hanna.